What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3LF. Chapter 51. Brother Edward suppresses a country. Wow, vessel. Just like that, he left. Alan played with the devil fruit in his hand, and said interestingly, bird fruit, phantom species, phoenix form. Humph. This devil fruit is not bad. Phoenix fruit. Devil fruit, the magical beast species known to be the most resilient. Newgate also came over and said, Big brother. I didn't expect that the harvest this time was actually this devil fruit. As for other gold and silver treasures, it doesn't matter. Indeed. For this statement, Alan also nodded in agreement. Money this thing. Actually, it doesn't matter. After all. Everyone has money, it's just a matter of how much. The devil fruit of such a top eudemon species is different, and the changes that such a devil fruit can bring are completely different. If it is cultivated well, it is a top powerhouse. The easiest is Kaido, this guy. Kaido's strength, qualifications, all aspects are beyond doubt, but you must admit that the green dragon fruit definitely brought a lot to Kaido, otherwise, Kaido's strength would not increase so quickly. Thinking about this matter, Alan narrowed his eyes slightly, and said in his heart, if you count the time, what is Kaido at this time? Suddenly, Alan was interested. If you didn't make a mistake in your calculations. Now Kaido should be 4 or 5 years old, and this time. Ha. Suddenly there was interest, and Alan said interestingly, Stinky boy. Do you know the Verka Kingdom? Verka Kingdom. Newgate pondered a little, then shook his head and said, Big brother. This is really unclear. There are many countries in New World, as many as stars. It's not an exaggeration, but you can ask someone to ask. Alan nodded and said, remember to ask someone. However, before that, we have to complete the task. If we continue to delay, it is estimated that Captain Rocks will be furious. Indeed. Ha. Goo la. The two brothers looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. The harvest of this voyage is too great. Bought shock fruit for money at the Pleasure Island auction. Then, as a result, I encountered an idiot, so it goes without saying that I just found the kingdom of Bryce. Of course. Fortunately, Newgate got the shock fruit, otherwise, would you like to take such an easy shot at a kingdom and defeat the entire kingdom? It's not easy either, though. It also has something to do with the whole kingdom being an idiot. Of course, no matter how you describe it, one thing is certain. Bird fruit, phantom beast, phoenix form. The devil fruit also fell into the hands of the Edward brothers. Besides, right now, above the entire sea, what happened in the kingdom of Bryce is completely resounding through the sea. Edward Allen, Edward Newgate, brother Edward, these two brothers, just two people, but with the strength of the two, they forcibly suppressed an allied country. This is the most unbelievable thing. Only, after this happened, now for the whole sea. Everything is different. As the Rocks Pirates' overall attack on the allied countries is releasing a signal, that is the madness of the pirates, which is gradually being released. But this is just the beginning after all. But at this moment it is completely different. The Edward brothers' shot to the franchise is not in the name of Rocks Pirate, but purely in their own name. What does this represent? In fact, it is self-evident, this represents for the world. Pirates will be even more crazy, and their terrifying hearts will be completely released. Everything that follows, or the pattern of this world will be completely changed, because what will happen to this group of guys with their heads pinned to their waistbands if they are crazy enough? In fact, it is self-evident. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5, 6th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. P.S. 12,000 flowers plus more. Brothers kneel for support. There are still 300 evaluation tickets to add more. 10 monthly passes will continue to be added. There is also a reward plus more. I beg your brothers for your support. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 52. Finding Marine, Sengoku and Garp. Wow. The ship slowly docked. Neil, is that it? Big brother. Don't worry. Look at Alan who jumped down. Neil said confidently, this is an island that I have chosen from thousands of choices, and it is blocked all around, and no one will find it here, and the people inside can't get out, and all the treasures are placed here, is absolutely safe. Confidently giving a thumbs up, Neil said that he had absolutely no problem doing things. Alan nodded to that too. Even though Neil's strength is nothing, but he specializes in surgery, and Neil is very good in this regard, even exceptionally good, and he handles everything in a tight and orderly manner. It's a personal ability. You let brothers Alan and Newgate handle this. Hee. That's just like a joke. This pair of brothers can just roll their eyes and show you. Goo la. Newgate laughed and said, Neil, how much gold and silver do we have in our hands now? Neil also rubbed his chin and said, two eldest brothers, the total amount of gold and silver treasures in our hands now is almost 6 billion Baileys, other than that. Okay. Alan waved his hand and said, "You can handle these things, Neil." Laozi is really not interested at all. No problem. Neil is also smiling. He has absolute confidence, and there will never be any problems. If the two big brothers trust themselves, then they will not do such a thing. Loyalty. Neil is absolutely a no-brainer. Stinky boy. Next, should we start to act? Listening to the elder brother's words, Newgate also said, "Brother. It's been so long since you've been out, and it's time for Captain Rock's mission to start. Otherwise, it will be quite troublesome to wait until everyone else has completed the mission." Alan nodded to that too. Soon, when the two were ready, they left again. Wow. With the churning of the waves, the two brothers drove a boat that was not too big and went straight into the distance. Next, this is the most important purpose of going to sea this time, to deal with the task of Captain Rock's. Let me see. Alan took out the information and was just about to take a look. Search. All of a sudden the shells fell. Alan and the Newgate brothers narrowed their eyes slightly at the same time and turned their heads to look at the situation in the distance. Warship. Alan was stunned for a moment, and then said interestingly, "I didn't expect it. Those guys from Marine are actually chasing after him. Goo la la la. Big brother. Although our bounty order said it did not continue to increase, but if there is no accident, it will continue to increase in the future." Alan said casually, "It doesn't matter whether it goes up or not, Laozi doesn't care, but first didn't expect Marine to find our position so quickly. Has it been betrayed?" Alan is very calm. This is pure nonsense, the two brothers who go to sea. That is simply impossible. But above the sea, if Marine just wants to find someone, it's really not that difficult. Like Garp chasing Roger every day. As long as Marine wants to find it, he can definitely find it. This is Marine's ability, and there is absolutely no doubt about it. But who the hell is Marine from? Alan was even more interested in this. Who are the Marines? These two are. Alan narrowed his eyes slightly, already seeing who the person was. After all, according to my own observation hockey, it is too easy to find these things. Sengoku. Garp. Alan squinted. Although young, he was definitely one of the pillars of the future Marine, a future Marine Marshal, a future Naval Headquarters hero. It can be said without hesitation. Alan, Newgate, Beloric, etc. are all monsters of the new generation of pirates. So, Sengoku and Garp, Zephyr and others are the monsters of the new Marine generation. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The first. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 53. Iron Fist. Exactly. I also want to try your purity. Actually, this era, definitely a very explosive time. Compared with the so-called extreme evil era in the future. This era should be said to be more terrifying, and this is the era of real explosions. Pirate side. Alan, Newgate, Baroric, Shiki, and even monsters including Roger and Akoku, John, Silver Axe, Linlin, Kaido, and more. And what about Marine? Garp, Zephyr, and Sengoku have 3 such monsters. It seems to be much weaker than pirates, but in fact, Marine has a complete system, which is simply not worth mentioning. No matter how to describe it, or it is. This era is an era in which a group of heroes rises together, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Woo. Breathing out a puff of smoke, Alan's eyes flickered with a very sharp light, and the whole person said grimly, "Next." But it's getting more and more interesting. Search. He licked the corner of his mouth slightly, but he wanted to see what the strength of these two people really was. Goo la la la. Newgate also said boldly, "I have heard of Marine's monster Vice Admiral for a long time, and I finally saw it today." Sengoku, Garp, Zephyr. The 3 are known as the Monster Vice Admiral of Naval Headquarters. Although they are all in their teens and 20s, they are very terrifying in terms of strength. Even many old Vice Admiral are incomparable. In that case, Kong Yunchi air shake. Newgate clenched the Kong Yunchi in his hand, and the knife fell directly from top to bottom. Wave. Incorporating the power of shock fruit into the clump of clouds, it contains armament hockey's attack in an instant, as if to destroy everything. This terrifying power makes people feel only endless fear. Die. Newgate let out a low roar. The power of terror seemed to devour everything. And it's just the beginning. Next moment. Wave. The air burst and exploded in an instant, and the slash formed by this knife with shock fruit was to devour everything. Buddha's impact. A sharp light appeared in Sengoku's eyes. Next moment. The whole person directly turned into a huge Buddha, opened one hand, and the dazzling shock wave fell instantly. Boom. The two forces collided in midair and exploded instantly. A monstrous ocean wave was set off, followed by a deep pit that burst directly out. After a short fight, the two did not continue to collide immediately, but seemed to be waiting for something. Both Sengoku and Garp stared at each other with very sharp eyes. Search. Licking the corner of his mouth slightly, Newgate clenched the Kong Yunchi in his hand and said sharply, brother. This is a good opponent. Moreover, it is definitely a terrifying opponent. He. Alan smiled and said with a smile. Anyway, he is also Marine's monster Vice Admiral. If he has no such strength, it is the strangest thing, isn't it? Goo la la la. Indeed. And, Alan's sharp eyes fell on Garp's body, and he said fiercely, Garp. Exactly, let Laozi see how pure your purity is. Ha ha ha. Alan laughed horribly, and the whole person was very excited. No kidding. Monkey D. Garp. His strength is very terrifying. In the future, he will even be known as the first person in naval headquarters, whether it is to join forces with Roger to defeat the Rocks, or to close the Roger Pirates again and again. Or rather, the amazing strength of Summit War has all been proven. Garp's strength is absolutely terrifying. And, this kind of terror will definitely not appear in the future, but has already shown amazing strength in childhood. Monkey D. Garp. This is a real monster. And, for Alan, he doesn't like to play against the weak, just the opposite. What Alan is most interested in is the strong. For Alan, fighting against the strong is the most exciting. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. Second more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 54. The Clash of Four Fighting. Edward Newgate. Sengoku's eyes were sharp and he said in a low voice. In the name of absolute justice, arrest both of your brothers. Ha ha ha. Goo la la la. The two brothers looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Alan sarcastically said. Sengoku. Are you kidding Laozi? Don't make Laozi laugh, it's like a joke. What is absolute justice? When Laozi's hometown needs you, where are you? What? Who? Just a bunch of rubbish. Humph. Isn't the so-called absolute justice to give money? As long as the money is enough. You have the so-called absolute justice. Alan is really full of disdain, even for the world government. Great for naval headquarters too. Really full of disdain. Don't say anything naval headquarters stands for justice. It's pure bullshit. Since you are the lackey of the world government, then. You're a lackey, why doesn't Garp want to be an admiral? The reason is very simple, as long as you become an admiral, you belong directly to the celestial dragons, and you belong to the lackeys of the celestial dragons. To be honest, Garp doesn't want to be celestial dragons lackey. Quote. Listening to Alan's words, Sengoku's face was not good looking. Ha ha ha. Garp said carelessly, what you said is really not wrong. But these are not things we need to consider, we have our own justice, and since we are ready, we will not relax. Quote. Humph. Alan grinned and said interestingly. Then, let Laozi come to see how strong you are. Snapped. Stepping on the deck with one foot, Alan disappeared like an afterimage in an instant. Roar. With a roar, Alan slammed the punch directly. Bull clash. Fist bone meteorite. Garp was not afraid at all, he just met Alan's punch, it was just a fist-fist collision. The next moment Garp regretted it and his face became extremely ugly. He never imagined that Alan's power would be so terrifying. Damn it. Garp couldn't help narrowing his eyes, and said secretly, how is it possible? This guy's power is so terrifying. Pity. Whatever Garp was thinking, it was too late now. Boom. The terrifying force of this punch directly smashed Garp into the air. This amazing punch made Garp fall directly into the sea. Garp. Goo la la la. Sengoku's roar was echoed by a loud laugh. Newgate has stepped in the air and came. Shock fruit. You can directly shatter the air, and Newgate walked directly step by step through this method, and said with a big smile, Sengoku. You should be concerned about yourself. You are also very dangerous. Kong Yunchi air shake. There was a sharp light flashing in his eyes, and Newgate's terrifying knife had fallen, as if to destroy everything in an instant. Humph. Sengoku's face was not good looking, and when he raised his hand, a dazzling shock wave came through in an instant. Buddha's impact. Wave. The two forces collided. The next moment was a devastating offensive. Goo la la la. Newgate had already landed on Sengoku's side, the corners of his mouth grinned, and he said savagely, Ren fruit, phantom beast, Buddha form. But the really terrifying devil fruit. Such a devil fruit, how can you be able to do it? How much power does it exert? Humph. Sengoku said indifferently. No matter how much power you exert, it should be no problem to defeat you. Goo la la la. Laozi is really looking forward to it. Right now, Newgate's eyes were exceptionally sharp. He stared at Sengoku, holding Kong Yunchi, and even clenched Kong Yunchi tightly in his hand, saying no joke. Newgate did not let down his guard in the slightest. This man, although it was only a short fight, but this man is definitely not weak, and in the face of such a man, if you are careless, the price you need to pay is very terrifying. The other side. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The third one. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge, event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 55. Garp. Your purity is not enough. Search. And right now, an afterimage has broken sleep. Ha, ha, breathing slightly, this figure is Garp. He wiped the sea water, opened his mouth, and said interestingly, Alan. You are really scary. That power really makes people feel terrified. Ha ha ha, continue. Alan waved at Garp. Garp is also not polite at all. Fist bone meteor shower. The fist burst, and it fell like this in an instant. The power that burst out in a short period of time, the power of this terrifying fist actually formed a shock wave, mixed with armament hockey's entanglement, forming an extremely terrifying impact. Oh, in the face of Garp's blow, Alan was not afraid at all, but raised his fist to meet Garp's blow. Bear. The scorching flames were burning, but Alan found it very interesting. Crackling, crackling. The two collided with each other's fists, and the terrifying flame and impact burst in midair. In a short period of time, it seemed to form an earth-shaking terrorist offensive. Boom. It exploded in an instant. Ha ha ha. Enjoyed. Enjoyed. Alan was also extremely excited, and couldn't help but let out a loud laugh. It is undeniable to say. All the time, Alan is always looking for the most suitable opponent. Or, Alan has always been looking for opponents, looking forward to the thrill of fighting against the strong. This is what Alan has been most excited about. Only. All the time, few of the opponents Alan encountered had the kind of real fist-to-flesh fight, which was Alan's favorite fighting style. The collision between the strong, the pure fist-to-meat collision, this is what Alan is most interested in and what Alan is most excited about. And in such a way of fighting, what is the result? In fact, it is self-evident. Ha ha ha. A mad look flashed in Alan's eyes, the corners of his mouth grinned, and he said fiercely, Garp. Your purity is not enough. What? Garp was taken aback for a moment, as if he didn't understand what this sentence meant. Next moment, Alan came straight towards Garp like a terrifying afterimage. Crackling. Under the fist shadow of the flesh, the attack was so fast that it was almost undetectable, and under such a ferocious attack, Garp felt only terrifying shadows of fists falling fast. Ha ha ha. Come. Fight. Garp. Don't let Laozi down. Alan let out an excited and crazy laughter. The whole person was like a devil. The terrifying power and the attack of the fist to the flesh made Garp's face gradually become ugly. But, next moment, Garp's mouth was wide open, and he said savagely, Don't look down on me. Devil, who do you look down on? What? With a roar, Garp swelled the muscles all over his body inch by inch. With the expansion of the muscles, Garp's eyes shone with terror, and he directly fought with Alan. Garp. Seeing this scene, Sengoku widened his eyes and hurriedly said, This trick. 6 Styles life returns. Garp let out this deafening roar. Ha ha ha. Enjoyed. Enjoyed. And feeling Garp's terrifying power, Alan's muscles swelled inch by inch, and the two were still beating each other frantically like two monsters. Alan can be said to be full of excitement and madness, Garp's strength can be said to be very good. But, no matter what, such power, Laozi did not take it seriously. Bump, bump. Under the collision of fist and flesh, Alan's eyes became more and more excited, and what he was most looking forward to and excited about was this kind of battle. A real fight. Bull clash. Fist bone meteorite. The two of them took a step back at the same time, but the next moment, an astonishing killing intent erupted from those terrifying eyes, and they smashed the opponent directly with a punch. Boom. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 4th more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge, event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 56. Monster Vice Admiral. That's it. Bump, bump. In such a fierce collision of fists to flesh. Ordinary Marines simply can't intervene. And, Alan's terrifying power has been fully displayed, even pressing Garp directly. Ha ha ha. Is that all there is to it? Garp. Your purity is too low. It's simply not enough. Accompanied by such hideous and wild laughter. Alan seemed to be insane. The almost invincible power fell madly. Under the terrifying offensive of Ultimate, Garp couldn't bear it at all. Cough cough cough. Coughing slightly, blood dripped from the corner of Garp's mouth. If you change to other opponents. Actually, even better to say. But, Garp was facing Alan, a monster who was more terrifying in physical skills than himself. As a strong man with the same taijutsu nature, Garp's strength is not weak, but he is more terrifying than himself, and his strength is more terrifying than taijutsu, and almost all his injuries will recover instantly. So, the two sides are simply no longer on the same level. Crackling. Alan's terrifying fist smashed straight down. Boom. Garp was shot directly out again, and the whole person fell into the deep sea. Buddha's impact. Kong Yunchi air shake. Ha. Ha. Sengoku was also panting slightly. He narrowed his eyes, never expecting that Newgate's strength would be so terrifying. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed wildly and heroically. Is that so? It's really not worth mentioning. Laozi doesn't take you seriously at all. It's too weak. Too weak. It's too weak. Weak. Sengoku, are you Vice Admiral, Marine's monster? Humph. Newgate had a sarcastic and disdainful smile, and a proud look in his eyes. Seriously, Newgate also gradually felt Sengoku's strength when they first played against each other. But, when the real war started, Newgate was full of disdain for Sengoku. It was too weak. This guy's strength, that's all, it doesn't need to be taken into account at all, it is too weak. That's why Newgate is full of such a proud gesture. Cough cough cough, coughing weakly, and Sengoku's injuries are recovering at a speed that is visible to the naked eye, no matter what. It is also the demon fruit power of you demons. Of course, such an injury is nothing at all. Only. Sengoku really never thought that Newgate's strength would be so terrifying. Pooh, a mouthful of blood spit out from his mouth. Fighting from the beginning to now, Alan and Garp, Sengoku and Newgate. To be honest, Brother Edward just rubbed the so-called Naval Headquarters monster Vice Admiral on the ground. Although it can be said that it can be played against, it is not a level opponent at all. It is undeniable to say. If it is developed according to the original work, it is indeed similar in strength. But for the current Newgate, his strength has been terribly improved. Under the guidance of his elder brother, he worked hard and grew rapidly. In addition to that, the strength has also been rapidly improved. Under such circumstances, it is not surprising that Newgate completely suppressed Sengoku. After all, if it follows the original trajectory, it is indeed similar, but what about now? That difference is very big. Damn it. Sengoku clenched his teeth slightly, his face was not particularly good looking. Okay. Alan is a little active and said, Newgate, the battle is almost here, kill this guy, we should go too. No problem. Big brother. Newgate clenched Kong Yunchi in his hand, and there was a terrifying killing intent in his eyes, but he didn't mean to be merciful. Seriously. Normally, pirates would not attack Marine directly. After all, such a situation will be chased by Marine frantically. Only, this is just normal, why did Marine shoot Laozi? Laozi didn't kill you. No matter what other people think, Alan and Newgate are two brothers, but they won't be merciful. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 5th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 57. Admiral of Headquarters, Black Ape Cory. Only. Just getting ready to do it. Alan stopped what he was doing. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Alan raised his head and said, Stinky boy, someone is here. What? Newgate also nodded and said, and it's a terrifying monster. Come. It was definitely the two brothers who had seen a monster on the sea that was second only to Captain Rock's. This strength was on the sea. Actually, don't even think about it, you know who it is. No one but the Admiral of Headquarters possesses such power. Wow, ha ha ha. As the waves rolled, and the warship came along was a tall figure, with his arms around his chest, he galloped arrogantly, with a hideous smile on the corner of his mouth, cruelly said, two little devils. What are you going to do to my little devil? Search. At this time, a marine pulled Garp out from under the sea. Wow. Just lying on the deck, Garp spat out a mouthful of blood uncontrollably, and his face was really ugly. Cough cough cough. Coughing weakly, Garp's face is quite ugly, but still wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth. Garp sat up slowly, sat cross-legged on the ground, looked at the man in front of him, and said seriously, old man. Thank you. Ha ha ha. Marine Admiral laughed casually. Stinky boy. You better be honest with Laozi. Really? Shaking his head casually. This Marine Admiral is also too lazy to pay attention to Garp. Alan and the Newgate brothers stood on the deck of another warship, quietly watching everything in front of them, their eyes very calm. Admiral of Headquarters. Black Ape Cory. A real terrifying monster. Alan's eyes were very sharp, but the corners of his mouth were wide open, and he said fiercely, but it's really exciting. What will happen next? He. A crazy and hideous smile appeared, but Alan thought it was very interesting. Admiral of Headquarters. In addition to sparring with Captain Rocks. The absolutely undeniable thing is, this monster is definitely the most terrifying monster, and also his most terrifying opponent. The more so. On the contrary, the less Alan had any fear, his eyes were full of excitement, even abnormal excitement. This is very much looking forward to. What is the next result? He. Search. With a smile, Alan licked the corner of his mouth and said, Stinky boy, it looks like. The opponent this time is a very difficult opponent. What? Newgate also grinned and said excitedly, Big brother. Next, it's a very interesting thing. Indeed, compared to other pirates, seeing Marine Admiral is like a mouse seeing a cat and fleeing without hesitation. But, this pair of brothers is not so at all, or even said. Instead, the brothers were full of madness, like terrifying monsters. There was nothing but this endless madness in the eyes of the brothers. Escape. Impossible things. This is simply impossible. Next, the brothers wanted to try to see what the strength of the Admiral of Headquarters really was. Black Ape Cory. This guy, in the Admiral of Headquarters, also has extremely strong strength, and such a monster is definitely the most suitable to see how powerful his own strength is. Woo! A wisp of blue smoke spit out, and Alan looked at the galloping warship. His smile became more and more crazy, even more cruel. Next, let Laozi see for himself how terrifying the strength of the Admiral of Headquarters is. Wow, wow. Quietly just staring at the warship that was getting closer and closer, Alan's eyes became sharper and sharper, the pair of vertical pupils like a beast. At this moment, only the light of the beast was filled. It didn't look like it at all. Or normal human colors. Alan is very calm, but full of madness. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 6th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. P.S. 100 floors plus more. I beg your brothers for your support. There are 200 evaluation votes plus more. 10 monthly passes plus more. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 58. 2 people join forces to fight Admiral. Wow, wow. As the waves churned, the warship had gradually stopped. Ha ha ha. Cory grinned and said interestingly, Brother Edward, I know that you two brothers are indeed very strong. And as a member of Rock's Pirate, it is undeniable that the two of you are indeed very difficult to deal with. Quote. What? Alan said interestingly. Admiral of Headquarters, Black Ape. Cory, Laozi has heard of your reputation. He was once one of the terrifying monsters on the sea. Do not. I was wrong. Even now, you are one of the terrifying monsters above this sea. Alan's eyes became more and more full of excitement. He didn't feel any fear of such a strong man, on the contrary. Just feel the endless excitement. Strength, right, money, beauty, family. These are all things Alan pursues. In Alan's view, as a traverser and possessing a system, it would be the strangest thing if he couldn't even do such things. Humph. A grim smile appeared, but Alan looked at Cory with interest and moved his muscles a little. Crackling. Alan said confidently. Cory Admiral. Next, just give it a try, but don't die accidentally. Ha ha ha. Cory laughed proudly. Boy. The old man has been for so many years, but it won't happen so easily. Yes. He. The corners of Alan's mouth are wide open, that hideous. The cruel look is like a greedy and crazy demon. Next moment, Alan instantly disappeared in place at a terrifying speed. Brush. Alan's figure suddenly appeared, and a whip leg swept across Cory's head directly. This terrifying power made Cory instantly feel a terrifying astral wind swept over, but it was in this instant. Snapped. Cory raised his hand and blocked Alan's attack directly. Boom. The place where the two people's legs and hands collided actually formed a terrifying impact, and this amazing impact made people feel a kind of shocking terror. Alan grinned, and said interestingly, so it is. But really terrifying power. He. Amazing strength. This power. On Cory's arm, every inch of muscle was like a lurking dragon, and he said in admiration, such terrifying power is simply not like the power that humans can possess, the lowest at least. This old man has never seen such terrifying power in other people for so many years. He. Alan grinned and said excitedly, I didn't expect that a person's strength could reach such a level that he could even compete with Laozi. Seriously. The one who holds the cow charm has always believed that power is absolutely invincible, but I never thought of it. There is someone who can compete with him, which is something he has never thought of. Now it seems. Everything is very interesting. Alan's eyes flickered with a ferocious look, and he punched straight down from top to bottom. Bull clash. Fist of power. Boom. Fist bump. Next moment, the monstrous power swept in, and Alan's eyes widened involuntarily. This terrifying power gradually surpassed his own power. Boom. Next moment, Alan was directly knocked out. Big brother. Newgate's eyes widened immediately. He rose directly into the sky, and caught Alan's figure, but the next moment. That terrifying force also hit Newgate. Humph. The two groaned at the same time and fell down like this. Newgate rubbed his chest slightly and said, Brother. Let's try it together. This is the Admiral of Headquarters, where it is so easy to deal with. What? Alan also stretched his muscles and bones a little, and with an excited smile on the corner of his mouth, said, It really is the more interesting. Compared with the strength of Captain Rock's Admiral, it is the most interesting. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The 1st. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 59. Next time we meet. Not anymore. Bull clash. Kong Yunchi air shake. Alan and the Newgate brothers both shot at the same time. Moment. Ha ha ha. Facing the offensive of the two brothers, Cory laughed loudly. Very good. Very good. Two boys, I haven't seen someone as powerful as you for a long time. But, don't look down on this old man. A sharp light flashed across his eyes, and Cory's hands clenched into fists. Fist of impact. Crackling. The muscles of the fists twisted in a very strange posture, and the muscles of the entire arms were colliding frantically like a pile driver, and a terrifying impact of a terrifying force. Boom. The strength of the three collided together, and a monstrous ocean wave was set off in an instant. Wow. The two warships were blown apart by the shock wave of the collision of the three people. As for Sengoku and Garp, the two did not choose to attack, they just watched quietly. Now the two are still young, and in the future, the two will work together to defeat Bullet and throw Shiki to impel down. At that time, the two people followed their inner justice, not as they are now. They felt embarrassed and felt that siege was not a good thing. Only, Alan was very bored with what he did. Snapped. Snapped. Next moment. The battlefield is still extremely fierce, and the battle of the three is very terrifying. Kong Cloud cut Earthquake cut. Newgate turned around and swept across with a knife. Kong Yunchi burst out with terrifying power. The unexpected offensive seemed to tear everything apart. The power it brings seems to be tearing everything apart. Boom. A deafening roar resounded. The two brothers stepped back at the same time, and returned to their pirate ship almost without hesitation. Next moment. Not even harsh words. Wow. Wow. The pirate ship set sail immediately. Alan stood at the stern, looked at Corey seriously, and said solemnly, as expected of Marine Admiral. It's really terrifying strength. It is undeniable that Laozi is really no match for you now. Goo la la la. Newgate was accompanied by laughter, but said boldly, but, Black Ape Admiral, the next time we meet, this will be the result. Corey looked at the two who were leaving, standing with his hands behind his back, his eyes filled with calmness, as if he didn't care about them at all. Corey was filled with calm and serenity. Catch the two. Corey is very clear that this is not realistic at all, and it is almost impossible to catch these two people, no joke. Although the strength of these two people is not their own opponents, they are also real monsters. If it is a head-to-head fight, then, of course, it goes without saying that you can win by yourself. If the other party chooses to escape, then it is impossible for him to catch him. That's why Alan always thought Shiki was outrageous. For him who owns the ability of Lion Fruit, if he really wants to escape, let alone Sengoku plus Garp, even 3 or 5 people can't catch him. Unless you say, Shiki is just being held down. In that case, it is indeed impossible to run away, but as long as he rises into the sky, Shiki can leave. It can be said without hesitation, Shiki's strength is here, and the powerhouses of the same level are fighting against each other. If one side wants to escape, then catch up. That is almost impossible. Although Alan and Newgate are still far behind Corey. The two wanted to escape, but Corey couldn't catch up. Corey stood with his hands behind his back, looked at the two who were leaving, and whispered calmly, Brother Edward. It is indeed a very dangerous guy, but the two of them are only part of it, which is exactly the proof. Rock's pirate it is the most dangerous. Corey sees a lot, the Edward brothers are just part of the Rock's pirate. And it's already so dangerous, so what about the others? In fact, it is self-evident. I'm afraid it is also very dangerous. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. Second more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 60. Failure. Not a bad thing. Wow. Wow. The pirate ship rode across the sea. Alan, Newgate. The two brothers were sitting on the deck respectively. Only, the two did not fall into a state of daze or self-abandonment, on the contrary. Instead, the brothers were thinking about something. Fail. Not a bad thing. Not to mention, this is not the first time the brothers have failed. When they faced Captain Rocks, they lost even worse. If they lose, they will lose. They will just have to find a way to win them back. This is not a shameful thing. One back. Woo. Breathing out a puff of smoke, Alan rubbed his chin as he thought about it. Stinky boy. What do you think is the difference between a strong man like Marine Admiral and Captain Rocks? Newgate was also smoking a cigar and thought, Big brother. This gap seems to be a bit big. How do I think that even the 3 Marine Admiral team is not a match for Captain Rocks? Alan nodded at this and said, Don't say it. I also have the same idea, this is a very outrageous thing. Is Captain Rock's strength so terrifying? The two brothers, you look at me, and I look at you, are all caught in thought. It is undeniable to say. Captain Rocks, Marine Admiral, the strength gap between the two is too big, right? Once upon a time, Alan and Newgate are also thinking about this after losing to Captain Rocks, is it that Admiral is this quality? But, I found out after fighting today. Hell, Admiral is nothing compared to Captain Rocks. Well, ha ha ha, Alan grinned with a confident smile, and said casually, this is not a bad thing. On the contrary, isn't this a good thing? Humph. The corners of his mouth twitched, and Alan said interestingly, our future can be said to be very far away. Yes. Ha ha ha. Goo la la la. The two brothers looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Such a future is the most interesting thing. They don't think it's so scary. Quite the opposite. There is absolutely no fear at all. Future. There is a road. This is the most anticipated thing. This is the most exciting. This means that he has not reached the peak. For Alan, he is very much looking forward to reaching the top, but he also doesn't want to reach the top like this. After all, no kidding. What Alan pursues is the path of continuous improvement. When the front path completely disappears, it would be too boring, even to say. That is too boring. ... Wow, wow. The waves are churning. Kori and Sengoku and Garp were also preparing to return to naval headquarters. After a little count of the number of people, no one was killed at all. Alan and Newgate are also not interested in killing these ordinary marines. It was purely a shot against Sengoku and Garp. How do you feel? Kori looked at the two and asked casually. For Kori, it doesn't matter if the two fail. Quite the opposite. Kori thinks that failure is not a bad thing. Rather, it should be a good thing. Even say, that's the best thing about it. Only through failure is true growth, and this is true for anyone, if you can't afford to fail. So, you are just a waste. Every strong person grows up through failures again and again. Who is truly undefeated? But it's extremely rare, and that's why. Instead, Kori looked at the two people in particular. Sengoku and Garp both looked at each other, and then shook their heads in unison. It is undeniable that their growth was still too shallow. Ha ha ha. Kori laughed and said, failure is not a bad thing. The same is true for the two of you. Pirates came out of death, and you grew up in Marine. It's not surprising that there is a gap. Let's continue, just work hard to grow. What you need is the real grind. Yes. The two looked at each other and nodded firmly. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The third one. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 61. One of the 5 great pirates, the evil pirates. Fail. It's never a bad thing. Or rather, fail. It is a good thing for anyone. Only after failure can you continue to grow. Success all the time is not a good thing for anyone. You have never experienced failure, it will only develop your heart. Arrogant. And what will be the result? In fact, it is self-evident. No kidding. When such a thing breaks out, what will the result be? In fact, it is self-evident. Crocodile, Moria, they are geniuses, but because of this, because it can't afford to fail, it completely declines. This is the bad effect of failure. Accepting failure earlier will make you progress faster, which is not a bad thing. Of course, for Alan and Newgate, the brothers are very calm. Isn't that just failure? What's wrong? If you lose once, you will die alive. That's a brain problem. Anyway, are the Edward brothers like this? What? Breathing lazily, Alan rubbed his eyes, walked out of the room, and asked, Stinky boy, has the other party's news been confirmed? Looking at the information in his hand, Newgate thought about it and said, Big brother. The other party is stationed on his own island, and he can just rush over. I heard that he just did a big thing, and it seems that he has grabbed some advanced equipment. Devil fruit, right? For the specific situation, Newgate is not particularly clear. But, Newgate shrugged slightly, saying that's about all he's learned for the time being. Alan leaned over and took the information, but thought about it. Isn't it specific? Never mind. It's not a big deal anyway. Stinky boy. Set sail. No problem. The two brothers looked at each other, and a smile appeared on the corners of their mouths at the same time. Next. But he just had to complete his mission, otherwise, if he continued to waste time, it would be hard to say on Captain Rock's side. Wow. As the waves churned, the two brothers had gone straight into the distance, extremely fast. Now this era, even though the establishment of Rock's Pirate, as the first country to dare to attack the allied countries, dare to challenge the majesty of the world government, in addition to the crazy move of the two brothers Alan and Newgate. To be honest, now the Rock's Pirate can be said to be resounding the world. But, in the eyes of many people, Rock's Pirate is not an invincible existence, after all. Except for Rock's D. Zebek, the strongest man in the world. Other people, they are nothing more than the new generation of little devils. In the face of such little devils, do we need to show any kind of powerful strength? Or, it's not easy for these little devils to get everyone's approval. In this era, the real rulers of the sea are the 5 pirates. The former Silver Axe pirates are still powerful, but they are also powerful pirates. There are also powerful pirates such as Gold, Silver and Bronze. But, there are only 5 really top pirates, and they are called the 5 pirates. And, Alan and Newgate's goals, in fact, no longer need to be said. Rock's Pirate wants to become the only overlord on this sea, no matter it is any powerful pirate group, you only have 2 choices. Either surrender or death, what more ways? That is pure nonsense. Above this sea, especially in the eyes of the terrifying man Rocks, this sea does not need any other overlord, and it is enough to surrender to himself. As for these so-called 5 pirates, feel sorry. Laozi is not interested in a guy like you, you can either be Laozi's subordinates, or die. And Devil Pirates. It is one of the 5 pirate groups and the target of the Edward brothers this time. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 4th more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 62. Devil's Island. 2 Ghost Kings. Wow, wow. The pirate ship gradually went straight to an island. Ghost Island. This island, if you look down from the top, you will find that the whole island is like a huge skull. Therefore, this island is called the Ghost Island. Of course, originally this island was called Skull Island, this is the name it used to be. Today, the island is known as Skull Island. Reason. It's actually very simple. One of the world's 5 top pirate groups, the Ghost Pirates, is stationed here, so this island is called the Ghost Island. As for the previous name, it really doesn't matter. Woo. A wisp of blue smoke spit out, and Alan sat cross-legged on the bow of the boat, thinking a little, this island is quite interesting. Newgate stood beside him and said, Big brother. The evil Ghost Island is the gathering place of the evil Ghost Pirates. There is a mountain in the center of the evil Ghost Island. This mountain is called Dajiang Mountain. Dajiongshan. What? Alan blinked, but he didn't expect it to be such a statement. Great country. For this name, Alan is very clear, isn't that the place where the ghosts and monsters in a certain myth who lived a good life gathered? Alan rubbed his chin and said interestingly, the legend has it that the ghost clan gathered in the mountains. But, other than that, Alan actually found it interesting. After all, the owners of O Mountain are the legendary Ibaraki Doji and Shuden Doji. Same. The 2 captains of the Ghost Pirates are also the 2 Ghost Kings. The Human Fruit, the Phantom Beast, the Ibaraki Doji type ability, Ibaraki. Human Fruit, Eudemons, Shuden Doji type ability, Shuden. These 2 people, the 2 famous Ghost Kings on the sea, are also the captain and vice captain of the Ghost Pirates. As for the others, in Alan's view, that's a meaningless thing. It's just like some rubbish, and you don't need to take it too seriously. Don't take the rest of these guys too seriously. Just a bunch of garbage. Only, Alan is currently thinking, and the entire Goblin Island is also starting a banquet. Ha ha ha. Drink. It's fun. Yes, under the Dajiang Mountain, the Ghost Island is also the position of the lower jaw of the skull. This is the only login port on the entire Ghost Island. Generally speaking, as long as you defend here, no matter how terrifying your strength is, do you want to land? That is not an easy task, easy to defend and difficult to attack. This sentence is definitely not a joke. But that's under normal circumstances, and the current situation. Obviously, it's more or less unusual. The pirates guarding the port by the evil Ghost Pirates have been drunk and almost fainted. Have you heard? This time the eldest brother and the second brother got a very top-notch devil fruit. Ha ha ha. They are all drinking excitedly. That's right. The entire evil Ghost Pirate group is immersed in joy at this moment. Actually, this is the case for most pirates, they don't care so much at all, and most of the time, they are holding banquets. Just like red hair pirates. If it wasn't for some brains or a few people left to look after it, then something really went wrong. And the few people who looked after the port obviously didn't notice that a pirate ship had gradually approached. And they are still immersed in joy. Anyway, what kind of devil fruit is the devil fruit that the eldest brother and the second brother got? Not sure. But I heard it's a top zone devil fruit. Okay, what does this have to do with us? Just drinking honestly is the end. Indeed, one by one, the pirates are also open to each other. As far as their status is concerned, no matter how high-level devil fruit they are, it has nothing to do with them. In that case, so why don't you take this opportunity to drink and eat meat? Can also be happy. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 5th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 63. The Lamb to Slaughter. So boring. Only, they seem to have never noticed that a pirate ship has come galloping. What is that? Pirate ship. Illusion. You're just joking. Someone dares to do something to our evil pirates. Indeed, I must have read it wrong. Ha ha ha. These people couldn't help laughing, it was like making a joke. This is the dignified Ghost Pirate group. One of the 5 strongest pirates in the world, the evil Ghost Pirates. Does anyone dare to ask for trouble? Simply getting impatient. Of course, no matter what it was, they continued to drink but didn't realize that the pirate group they defined as an illusion was getting closer and closer. Wow. Search. A terrifying shock wave erupted from Alan's eyes, sweeping out instantly. In an instant, all the pirates were swept away, and they lost their lives in an instant. Quote. Alan and Newgate jumped up and landed in the port like this. Alan looked at these and said boredly, looks. The whole goblin pirates seem to be celebrating. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed and said interestingly, Big brother. What level of devil fruit are you talking about? How dare you let these guys? Such a celebration. Ghost knows. Alan shrugged, but then the corners of his mouth grinned, and he said hideously, no matter what devil fruit it is, it doesn't really matter anymore, because this devil fruit belongs to Laozi. That's right. Let's go. What? The two brothers directly crossed these corpses and continued to go to the depths of Evil Ghost Island, that is, Dajiangshan. Along the way, they encountered a lot of drunken, drowsy guys who had already died of drunkenness. Pity. These guys, Alan and the Newgate brothers, are just going to get rid of them. But, Alan thought it was kind of boring. What Alan likes is an evenly matched battle, or rather a slaughter. Instead of this totally boring fight, this fight. Seriously, Alan wasn't interested at all. Just these lambs to be slaughtered. If it weren't for Captain Rock's orders, it would be a no-stay. Alan didn't even have the idea of their shot. It's just too boring. Just like when he played against Sengoku and Garp, he could see that Alan didn't care about those ordinary Marines. After all, they were just a bunch of garbage. That's Alan's character. Don't look at Alan like this, Alan doesn't like slaughter. After all, in Alan's eyes, that's just a bunch of garbage, and he likes to slaughter a bunch of garbage when he has nothing to do. Isn't that a sick thing? That's what the weak do. Therefore, all the time, Alan is growing with such efficiency, and as time goes by, Alan is just bored with the Goblin Pirates. Big brother, keep waiting. Newgate knew the character of his eldest brother, and said very casually, it's not a big problem at all. Brother, we will go up soon. When the time comes, let's see what the strength of those two is. Indeed, Alan nodded too. Swallow. Ibaraki. These are the older generation of powerhouses across the sea. Alan and Newgate are very interested in such powerhouses. Search. Licking the corner of his mouth slightly, Alan's mouth showed an excited look. Strong. This is the opponent that Alan is most interested in. No matter what time it is, as long as it is a strong player, Alan is extremely excited. In other words, for these powerhouses, I really want to try it out. What is their strength? He. Gone. No problem. The two brothers looked at each other and laughed at the same time. Next, the two of them are just too welcome. This is the first battle that the two brothers really resounded in the world, destroying an allied country. As long as you understand it, you will know that the so-called alliance countries are actually the same. Basically, they are all weak and poor. But, the Devil Pirates are one of the 5 largest pirates. This is the most exciting. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 6th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. P.S. 1,000 evaluation tickets plus more. I beg your brothers for your support. There are still 10 monthly tickets to add more. Pray for a wave of support. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 64, Climbing to the Top. Ghost King and Demon. Sweep all the way. Alan and Newgate headed towards the top of the big river. For the brothers, this is purely a group of weak people like garbage, and it is not worth mentioning at all. Too weak. A bunch of drunken rubbish. The two brothers are basically like sweeping. This is the apex of Dajiangshan. Ha ha ha. Alan put his hands in his pockets, with a sarcastic smile, and said sarcastically, and built a palace. It's really shameful. As a pirate, it is meaningless to make these fancy things. With this time, you might as well improve your strength. Goo la la la. Next, let Laozi come and say hi. A terrifying light appeared in Newgate's eyes, and his hands clenched into fists. Wave. Next moment, the power of terror burst out at the same time, which is the power of shock fruit. Empty shock. Boom. The power of terror swept away instantly. In an instant, crackling, the whole palace seemed to collapse. Asshole. Who? Court death. With this deafening roar, one by one silhouettes walked out of it. The leader was a man with red hair, his eyes were sharp, and he said savagely, 2 little devils. You are simply courting death. Edward Allen. Edward Newgate. He. Brother Edward. Are you dying? Another man with jet black hair said coldly, you 2 little brats, with a little bit of skill, can come to Laozi's pirate group to make trouble, right? Drinking. Ibaraki. Looking at the two of them, Alan said calmly, are the captains and vice captains of the evil pirates actually just arrogant trash? Ha ha ha. Hey. Alan laughed and sarcastically said, don't do this. If that's the case, Laozi is so boring. Anyway, Captain Rock's order is to kill you guys, right? Right. Alan seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly the corners of his mouth twitched, and he said with an interesting smile, let's talk about something interesting. What do you think will happen next? He. Alan's smile was full of sarcasm, and he continued, you two can choose to die here. Or, just kneel down and choose to join the Rock's pirate, then Laozi can let you 2 brothers go. Alan's smile is really strong, full of sarcasm, full of ridicule, but he wants to see what choices the brothers will make. Crackling. Ju-Tun clenched his fists, and the whole person's eyes flashed with crimson light, full of terrifying killing intent. Court death. It's just looking for death. In Jutun's view, Alan simply wants to die. Joke. How dare you insult your brothers like this? Shuden and Ibaraki, the two brothers are the captains of one of the 5 largest pirate groups in the world, and with such identities, how could you say such a thing to Laozi? Just looking for death. However, Ibaraki calmly stopped Shuden and said coldly, very good. Very good. You really deserve to be the crazy Edward brothers, your two brothers' ability to kill is very good. But, it's not unexpected. Then, have those people been dealt with by you? Ibaraki is very clear. Now the evil ghost pirates are having a banquet, and during the banquet, these two people appeared here, and at first glance, they came with the idea of killing, so you don't need to think about it. Except for his two brothers and those cadres, everyone else is probably dead and can't die anymore. Woo. With a puff of smoke, Alan nodded and said, that's right. All the rubbish has been disposed of, now it's your brother's turn. Seriously, Laozi was interested. In the end, you guys are like it's garbage like a lamb to be slaughtered, but Laozi finds it too boring. He. Jutun cruelly smiled and said, you won't be bored soon. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The first. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 65. The 4 Evil Ghosts. Kill with one knife. Big brother. Just leave these two garbage to us. Yes. That's right. That's right. Following this conversation, 4 people came out, all of them dressed as horns. The whole person looks very terrifying and weird, like 1 by 1 evil ghosts. 4 evil ghosts. Bear Boy, Tiger Bear Boy, Star Bear Boy, Golden Bear Boy. Alan looked at the 4 guys, but said boredly, it's boring. It's boring. 4 rubbish, Laozi is not interested in you. Goo la la la. In that case, Newgate clenched Kong Yunchi in his hand and said sharply, big brother. Laozi is here to get rid of these guys. Alan said casually, it doesn't matter, you can deal with it. Of course, a killing intent emerged, and Newgate's eyes were very terrifying. Snapped. Step by step, he walked towards the 4 evil spirits. The 4 of them are the 4 cadres of the demon pirates, and they are also well-known guys on the sea. But, in the eyes of the real powerhouse, it is simply not worth mentioning. Alan glanced casually, and put his eyes on Shuden and Ibaraki, but said interestingly, your names, devil fruit and everything like this always give me a strange feeling, right? You are from Wano-kuni, right? Quote question mark. Quote. Shuden and Ibaraki's eyes became sharp at the same time, as if they didn't expect that Alan would know his origin. Really? Alan nodded knowingly and said, just as Laozi guessed, you guys are indeed from Wano-kuni. Quote. Not saying anything, though. Alan had seen it in their eyes. Whether it is from the titles of Dajiangshan, Shuden, Ibaraki, and the 4 Ghost Kings, it is too familiar to people. Isn't this the name of Wano-kuni? After all, Wano-kuni and a certain country in the Heian period had a good life, almost the same. Correct. If there is anything that is particularly similar, then it is full of idiots. It's really a pure idiot, as long as you use your brain to imagine, you will know what kind of idiot it is. Kazuki Sukiyaki, Kazuki Oden, Momosuke, almost a family of 3rd generation are all idiots. The probability of this is really very low. In such a situation, it is the most interesting thing, and it is very interesting to be able to gather together. What? Breathing lazily, Alan turned his head to look at the battlefield quietly. Holding Kong Yunchi, Newgate clenched Kong Yunchi slightly, and there was a sharp chirping sound above Kong Yunchi. Newgate's eyes were sharp, and he said indifferently, 4 guys. Laozi next, but you're welcome. Goo la la la, if only I would die like this. So, Newgate laughed and said, it's because you are so rubbish. Court death. Just a mere brat. Don't think you are strong. Just a piece of junk. The faces of the 4 evil ghosts became extremely ugly, and they were instantly burning with anger. Joke. They are all monsters who have been in the sea for 10 years, or even longer. They are the real top monsters above this sea. Now what? They were actually mocked by the mere kid. This is simply unacceptable. This sharp gaze emerged, and their killing intent was very terrifying. Court death. Kill you. The 4 evil ghosts shot at the same time, and Newgate narrowed his eyes slightly and said calmly, it's really weak. Guys like you are simply not worth mentioning. Humph. Kong Yunchi air shake. A sharp light suddenly burst out from his eyes. Newgate's strike is definitely ruthless enough. No mercy whatsoever. 1 shot down. It was as if everything had calmed down in an instant. All of these. It happened too fast, and Newgate also withdrew his gaze and looked at everything in front of him quietly. His expression was very calm. It has ended. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. Second more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 66. the prototype of the strongest man in the future. What? Wow. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and their faces instantly became extremely ugly. The whole person's body seems to be distorted, just in this short period of time. It just shattered. Just like blocks of building blocks, at a speed visible to the naked eye, they were completely wiped out, completely crushed, and completely turned into dust, and they fell in front of everyone's eyes. Quote. For a while, the atmosphere seemed to have become silent. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed proudly and said, "For rubbish. It's nothing worth mentioning at all. Hey, is this the case with your ghost pirates? All 4 such rubbish can be used as cadres. It's too weak. Humph. Jotun said disdainfully, it's just a bunch of rubbish. Little devils, it's just killing a bunch of rubbish, is it so arrogant? It seems. Laozi really doesn't need to take you too seriously. After all, you are just 2 rubbish who shot at trash." Goo la la la. Newgate looked at Jotun, evoked the last disdain, then set his eyes on Ibaraki, and proudly raised Kong Yunchi in his hand. Haki said fully, "Come on. Let Laozi look at your strength." Yes. Ibaraki's eyes flickered with terrifying light, and he said coldly, "You really chose a good opponent." "Who knows?" Newgate shrugged, still staring at Ibaraki. Different from the arrogance just now, the current Newgate is more dignified, after all. This time the opponent is not a weak one, a careless one, but it will bring the price of death. Jotun raised his mouth and said sarcastically, "It really makes people feel boring. Your brother chose a bad opponent." Yes. Alan also grinned and said sarcastically, "It's his misfortune that Ibaraki chose Newgate, after all. Newgate's strength is stronger than Ibaraki's." Quote. The two looked at each other, and there was only endless indifference in their eyes. Then, invariably, he withdrew his gaze and did not intend to continue to say anything more. So far, it was enough. Too much nonsense was meaningless at all. Alan knew Newgate would win. Shuden knew that Ibaraki would win. This is the confidence of a big brother in his own younger brother, the same. It is impossible for 2 people to have anyone to convince each other. Kong Yunchi air shake. The arm of the Ghost King. In the face of Newgate's blow, Ibaraki's body suddenly became strange, as if the horn of a demon had emerged, and immediately after, his right arm had turned into a ghost arm. With one hand open, the huge ghost claws seemed to devour everything. Boom. The attacks of the 2 collided in an instant, and immediately after, the 2 set their eyes on each other at the same time, and a smile emerged. Bump. The battle between the 2 broke out at the touch of a button, and then broke out instantly. The 2 of them had no intention of showing mercy. That was a real ruthless attack. From the beginning to the end, these 2 people were like this, and every blow was for the other's life. Absolutely no mercy whatsoever. Boom. Listening to the roaring sound in the ears, the expressions of the 2 people are very sharp. Even though it was only a short fight, but neither of them were idiots. They felt it immediately. The strength of the other party is very strong, it should be said. Definitely not weak. Goo la la la. Laozi is also getting more and more excited. The terrifying Conqueror's haki burst out, and the terrifying impact seemed to sweep everything. It was at this moment that the burst of terrifying power had already covered everything in an instant. Boy, don't look down on people. Ibaraki also burst out with terrifying air waves in his eyes. It was also Conqueror's haki, and the 2 Conqueror's haki formed a hedge. Crackling. A stream of dark purple air was trembling, as if it were about to shatter the opponent in an instant. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. The third one. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 67. Pirates. It's just a pig dog in captivity. Crackling. Right now, the dark purple air flow is surging. This is the Conqueror's haki of the 2. The terrifying atmosphere is colliding, just like 2 terrifying ancient beasts colliding terribly, and this kind of power is the most people feel. Chilling power. Bump. The battle between Newgate and Ibaraki is getting more and more terrifying. After watching for a while, Alan turned his head and said, "Julian. Stop talking nonsense. Laozi, quickly get rid of this guy. Laozi should finish this task too." He. Jotun's eyes flashed blood-red light, and he said cruelly, "Little devil. It's really arrogant. It seems that the old guy from Rocks has really given you a confidence that is not equal to your strength. Are you confident?" Ha. Alan said excitedly. "Laozi doesn't think so much. Laozi has always thought that dealing with garbage like you is not a matter of course." Quote. Both of them narrowed their eyes slightly. Next moment. Bump. The collision of fist and fist. Crackling. The pitch-black armament haki was frantically churning, and the breath of the 2 seemed very terrifying. Alan and Shuden separated at the same time. Alan took a step back and said disdainfully, "It turns out that such strength is not worth mentioning at all. Little devil, you are simply courting death." Jutun's killing intent has become more and more terrifying for him. As one of the terrifying monsters of this era, he was actually looked down upon by a kid. This is simply a huge insult. Shuten couldn't bear such an insult. And Alan said very calmly, seriously. Laozi actually knows about the strength of you guys, but it's the same. Laozi didn't expect you guys to be so weak. High-grade Conqueror's Hockey. This is the threshold for a truly stable powerhouse. If there is no Conqueror's Hockey who has cultivated to this level, you are still a long way from the real powerhouse. Unless you say you are gifted. But, even if that's the case, then there's a huge problem with everything, isn't it? No matter what, this is something you absolutely have to admit. Why in this day and age? The world government has never cared about pirates, but in the future is it necessary to maintain a balance? The reason is very simple. The pirates of this era are actually meant to be kept in captivity. They are kept in New World and used to threaten those countries. Don't you want to be an allied country? Of course there is no problem. If you don't want to be a member country. If you look at me, what will happen to these pirates? That's the root cause. But, this is part, and the most important part is, world government does not need real peace in this world. When all external threats disappear, then world government is your biggest threat. Even say, world government will be treated by the whole world together, if it really reaches that level. Then everything will be very difficult. Woo, skillfully lighting a cigarette, Alan said very calmly, actually. To put it bluntly, we so-called pirates, to a certain extent, if it weren't for Captain Rocks, in fact. We are just being kept in captivity by the world government. Pigs and dogs. A puff of smoke came out, Alan's expression was very calm, and this was the most terrifying thing, for anyone. When you find out, this world, in fact, when he was kept in captivity as if it were pork. That time, don't you feel the endless despair? That feeling is really too terrifying. And, although Alan is a lunatic, he is not an idiot. Over time, he has gradually discovered that the watershed of pirates, the transformation and growth of pirates actually started from Captain Rocks. Or, Captain Rocks opened a new era of pirates and changed the situation of pirates. Change all of this completely and make this sea even more terrifying. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 4th more. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 68. The Road to Further. You don't. And, with Captain Rocks teaching the high-ranking Conqueror's Hockey. Everything is different. Roger, Newgate, Shiki, the three-legged era of the three legendary pirates. Roger started the era of the Great Pirate. Newgate, Kaido, Linlin, Shanks, the age of the four emperors. As for the worst times to come, no matter what, these have all been proved. When everything is in front of you, this is the most terrifying thing. The whole sea is so terrifying. How powerful is such a terrifying sea? And this, it was when the real pirates changed dramatically, and all the pirates changed, not just like pigs and dogs in captivity as they are now. What exactly are you trying to say? Ju Tun looked at Alan seriously, with different expressions in his eyes. Alan shook his head, then threw the cigarette in his hand on the ground, and said casually, just a little emotional. Some things are actually quite interesting. For this sea, whether it is you or others, it's just the existence of tools. After all, you have no further path. Or, if you want to go further, you don't have it at all. Naturally, such a situation will form. Quote. Jutun listened to Alan's words, his face could be said to be very ugly, and his voice was cold. Little devil. What are you trying to say? Say something. Humph. Alan grinned and bowed slightly. It doesn't matter. Laozi is going to take your life next. Kong Yunchi air shake. Song of the Ghost Hand. Boom. The terrifying roar resounded, and the battle between Newgate and Ibaraki became more and more terrifying. Crackling. Newgate opened and closed, like a terrifying monster, and the same. Ibaraki wasn't much better either, and Ibaraki's hands were like sharp claws, rather than a human being, it was like a monster. That's exactly what happened. Ibaraki is a terrifying monster. As in Phantom Beast, the power he possesses is really like a monster. Crackling. The battle between the two continued, and on the other side, Alan suddenly shot. Roar. Dragon blast. The electric eye burst. 3 shock waves pierced through at the same time, and Ju Tun quickly retreated, feeling a huge pressure for a moment, but at the same time, Ju Tun was not afraid at all. Brush. The hair turned crimson red, and it also had ghost horns, and Shuden's hands also showed the posture of sharp claws. Roar. A roar that sounded like a ghost. Brush. The offensive of the two came to an end in an instant. Unanimously, he took a step back. Ha ha ha. Alan smiled excitedly. Not bad. It's really quite good. Although, Laozi thinks your strength is just like that, it's not worth mentioning at all. It's just. Licking the corner of his mouth excitedly, Alan looked like an evil spirit, and said excitedly, but it really makes people feel interesting. You guy, you have shown a good strength, this is very interesting. Already. His expression was full of excitement, but Alan found it very interesting. Really. A person who can resound above this sea, although he has no possibility to go further, he is still not weak. Alan's smile was very strong, and he looked at Juden interestingly, and said grimly, "You bastard. Next, Laozi is welcome." Snapped. Stepping on the ground with one foot, Alan went straight for Jutun at an extremely fast speed, and the speed was terrifying. Bull clash. The terrifying power made the muscles on Alan's arms expand inch by inch, and what kind of terrifying power does such a swelled muscle bring? Actually, it is already self-evident. Boom. This punch went straight down from the top down, and Alan's eyes flashed with a frantic look. This blow showed no mercy. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 5th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 69. This new era. You have been eliminated. Bump. Bump. A fierce roar resounded, followed by this deafening roar. All of a sudden, tick-tock, tick-tock, blood had dripped onto the ground. Cough cough cough. Ibaraki knelt down on one knee, looked at the huge wound on his chest, and said with an ugly face, "It's a terrifying power. You guy is like a monster." Even though, the Goblin Pirates are one of the 5 most terrifying pirates in the world. But, they are nothing more than frogs in the water and the moon at the bottom of the well. They are not worth mentioning at all. This era no longer belongs to them, but belongs to a new era. Or, this is an era that belongs to rocks, and in this era of rocks, it is naturally the most exciting. Pooh. He spat out a mouthful of blood, while Newgate held Kong Yunchi in his hand, and said proudly, "Laozi won." Sure enough, devil fruit of the phantom species is so terrifying that Laozi almost couldn't bear it. Although he said so, but from Newgate's posture, it can be found that Newgate has almost no injuries. Actually, everything is just words. Woo. Breathing out a deep breath, Ibaraki still stood up slowly, and said sharply, "It's not over here." Just kidding, it's just the beginning. How could it end like this? Sharp eyes. Ibaraki is full of strong fighting spirit, and he will not be defeated by this point. Goo la la la. That's right. That's right. Newgate also laughed wildly. This is the most exciting thing. Don't let Laozi down, otherwise, it will be too boring. A terrifying killing intent emerged. Newgate held Kong Yunchi and took one step at a time. The pace was not fast, but it was very heavy and went straight to Ibaraki. Ibaraki was also not afraid at all, jumped up, and said frantically, "Laozi won't end like this." Boom. A strong air wave spreads all around, and the battle between Alan and Shuden is equally fierce. Only, cough cough cough. Jutun pressed down on his injuries, swallowing the blood and broken internal organs directly, revealing his blood-red ferocious teeth, making him look like a terrifying evil spirit. Alan calmly wiped a wound on his body, and at a speed visible to the naked eye, the wound has recovered. Humph. Ha ha ha. The corners of his mouth twitched, and Alan laughed excitedly. Is there only such strength? It's not worth mentioning at all. You don't need to be in Laozi's eyes at all. Alcohol swallow. Too weak. Too weak. This new times, there is no place that can carry you. This new era, you rubbish, has been completely eliminated. He he he. Jutun grinned and said cruelly, "Boy. Want to eliminate Laozi and others? Don't make trouble. It's so easy there. Let Laozi see what your strength is. I want to eliminate Laozi." His eyes flickered with terrifying light, and those who swallowed madly were like evil spirits. Roar. Next moment, Jutun let out a wild roar. The aura of the whole person became very strange, and even more terrifying. A wave of terrifying air was churning, and this was not over yet. The next moment, Jutun was on his body, the muscles swelled inch by inch. More than that, the breath of the whole person has been improved, obviously. This is Jutun's terrifying transformation, and such transformation is the most terrifying transformation, because you never know. To what extent will Jutun's strength increase to a level, even to say, if you are not careful, the result will be death. Alan faced the power of Shuden with his own eyes, but he didn't have the slightest fear or even the idea of taking action. Instead, he waited quietly. This is also the powerhouse of the old era, although in the new era, they have no soil to survive. So, let these old-time overlords die in the most respectable way. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 6th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. P.S. 15,000 flowers plus more. Bros. I beg for all kinds of data support. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th, Chapter 70. Destroy the evil ghost pirates. The legendary devil fruit. Cough cough cough. Shuden coughed weakly, his face pale. Even the awakened Zone U demon's demon fruit power. At this moment, his face was pale. Apparently it has reached the ultimate. Wow. A mouthful of blood mixed with internal organs was spit out directly, while Juchuan staggered and asked in a low voice, "Such an attack? It's not a direct injury at all, what is it?" The power of sheep. An attack on the soul. But Alan looked at Juden and said in admiration, seriously. As expected of the awakened zone phantom demon fruit power, it actually reacted. Although he was severely injured, he still reacted. Wow. Another mouthful of blood was spit out, and Jutun murmured, soul attack. He. With such a light laughter, Jutun whispered, it's really a pity. It's just like what you said, kid. In this new era, there is no stage for Laozi. Ha ha ha, it's really a pity. With this crazy loud laughter, Jutun lost all consciousness, and he had fallen to the ground, completely lost his life, so he really reached the limit. The other side. Brush. With a knife, Kong Yunchi directly cut off Ibaraki's head, blood spurted out, and everything came to an end in an instant. Woo. Newgate let out a long sigh and said, big brother. Not to mention, these two people are really willpower and really terrifying. What? Alan skillfully lit a cigarette, and said calmly, I have to admit that on this sea, as long as anyone who can grow up is basically not easy, but it's still that sentence. They still a guy who was abandoned by the times. Yes. Newgate nodded in approval. They can't learn the high-level conqueror's hockey, in fact. They have been abandoned by this sea. In this era, a high-grade conqueror's hockey is a very precious thing. But, in the future it will be different. After decades, these things have spread to the whole sea, not to mention the Grand Line and the Four Seas, but in the New World. Basically, your strength is slightly good, just like the rubbing of the historical text of those few road signs. Basically a hand. Therefore, this is the fundamental reason why the strength of pirates has been greatly improved. But it's totally different in this day and age. The only people who can cultivate high-level conquerors hockey are those who are trained by Marine, and only the world government is left, and maybe there is such a power among those powerful countries. Pity. There are still many problems. But, Newgate rubbed his chin and thought, big brother. The ghost pirates are also destroyed, right? Keep watching. Is there anyone alive? No problem. Alan's observation hockey instantly covered everything, and the endless observation hockey covered the entire Goblin Island. At the same time, Alan and Newgate were also chatting, thinking, stinky boy. You said, if our future pirate ship builds a pirate ship as big as an island. Or what about a pirate ship larger than an island? What? Newgate was stunned when he heard his eldest brother's bold idea, but then he thought about it and said, brother. I think yes, if we can build such a pirate group, aren't we equivalent to building a country? Alan was stunned for a moment, then joked, don't say it. Your idea is really right, if we can build a country directly on the sea. I remember that the Vinsmoke Kingdom in North Blue looked like this. The two brothers looked at each other, both interested in the idea. Of course, after careful search, the entire evil ghost pirates have no one alive. But, the two brothers found a legendary devil fruit. P.S. New book upload. Daily 5. 7th. Ask the brothers for a wave of collections. P.S. 30 monthly tickets plus more. Bros. I beg for all kinds of data support. Celebrating the 7-day National Day holiday and reading books. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediately rush to recharge. Event time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 71. Fish and Fish Fruits, Phantom Beasts, Blue Dragon Form. One of the 5 great pirates, the evil pirates. Destruction. With a very terrifying force, Alan and Newgate, the Edward brothers, joined forces to destroy the entire Goblin pirates. They are just remnants of the old era, and in this new era, they have not survived at all. Qualified to go down. F*K. After disposing of the Goblin pirates, of course, the next step is to take over all the treasures of the Goblin pirates. There is no doubt about it, after all. Captain Rox has already said that as long as the Goblin Sea has destroyed the pirate group, the treasure of the entire evil ghost pirate group belongs to the two brothers. What's wrong? Alan threw boxes of treasure directly on the ground and heard Newgate exclaim. Brother. F*K. 35. There are so many devil fruits here. 99. What? As soon as he heard it was devil fruit, Alan became interested. He threw the gold and silver treasures aside and walked over quickly, after all. For others, he didn't know, but for himself, the most important thing was devil fruit. As long as devil fruit is enough, the growth of his own strength is simply a geometric increase. Snapped. F*K. Quickly walking over, Alan looked at the treasure chest in front of him, and couldn't help but exclaim, my dear. There are at least 20 devil fruits in it, right? Where did these guys get so many? Devil fruit. Newgate said directly. Brother, I checked a total of 18 devil fruits, and there are many high-level devil fruits among them. For example, this, Paramesha shiny fruit, and these devil fruits, Paramesha pocket fruit, Paramesha hot fruit, and this, Paramesha transpiration fruit. These 4 devil fruits are all high-level devil fruits. In your words, eldest brother, if you train them well, there is absolutely no doubt about the 853 aspect of your future strength. Newgate knew it very well, after all. The two brothers knew very well about the pirates in the Devil Fruit Pokédex in Rock's Pirate. Although, above the sea, the Devil Fruit Pokédex is basically a different thing. The same. But I can't stand Captain Rox. This is too terrifying. It's like a terrible monster. Under such circumstances, the devil fruit illustration that the two learned about, although I can't say it's the best, but it's definitely the best. It is recorded that the devil fruit that appeared on the sea and was eaten by almost 70% is already amazing. After all, the major forces are different. I ate a devil fruit, and then I recorded it. I must have kept it by myself so that no one can see it. I just recorded the dark fruit with Teach, and the entire Whitebeard see the thieves know very little, this is a truth. Shining fruit, pocket fruit, hot fruit, transpiration fruit. 35. 99. Alan squinted his eyes and said secretly, if you calculate it like this, it is in the original book. It should be the Brad and Linlin who performed this mission together. In the end, these devil fruits were divided between two people. In the original book, shining fruit and pocket fruit were obtained by Newgate, while hot fruit and transpiration fruit belonged to Owen and Daifuku of the Big Mom Pirates respectively. Probably, he basically knew it. 7, 7, 8, 8. Nodding his head, Alan continued, there are 18 devil fruits in total. After removing these 4 high-level devil fruits, what about the rest? Alan is not a devil fruit, you just pick it up and devour it, isn't that the same nonsense? Phoenix fruit is collected now, in the future. His goal is to form the strongest pirate group in the world. Not only do I want to become the strongest person in the world, but I also want to form the strongest pirate group in the world. I don't necessarily have to rule the world, but I must become the strongest person in the world, so that the whole world will obey me. Way to rule the world. It is Alan's ambition, very simple, very vulgar, but as a traveler, as a second-generation human being, and for those who own the system, if there is no such ambition, it is the most strange thing. Strength, #F, money, beauty, all of this is what Alan is most excited about and what interests Alan the most. Brother. Other than that, Newgate took out each of the devil fruits, threw 4 devil fruits into another treasure chest, took out 1 devil fruit and said, this devil fruit is a Paramesha mini fruit. I think it shouldn't be too useful. Wait, Alan was taken aback and asked directly, this is Paramesha mini fruit. 55. Yup, Newgate nodded and said in astonishment, brother, the use of this devil fruit shouldn't be of much use. Alan shook his head directly and said, keep this devil fruit, it will definitely be of great use in the future. What? It is good. Quote. Although Newgate was stunned for a moment, he still nodded. Anyway, it was a devil fruit. Keep it. Keep it. Since Big Brother said so, it must be of great use. There is no doubt about it. Actually, the effect of the devil fruit is very simple. It can keep the ability person at the original height, 30 centimeters, and 5 millimeters in 3 heights and sizes, keeping the original strength unchanged. It seems that the effect is the same. It's nothing. But the problem is, what you need to understand is that if ordinary people eat this devil fruit, it will indeed have the same effect, but if it is eaten by giants, or even ancient giants. What about these giants of the demon race? Then the meaning is completely different. Don't forget the legendary Yundao demon, that is, the descendant of the demon Oz. Little Oz Jr. joined the Whitebeard Pirates. If it were Oz Jr. after eating this mini fruit, is it still the same? If you think about it, you can see how terrifying is the ultra-small human race that possesses the power of the demon race. Even if it cannot be called invincible, it is almost the same. Correct. Big Brother. 35. I'm not particularly clear about this devil fruit. Saying that, Newgate took out a devil fruit and put it aside. The other devil fruits are all recorded in the devil fruit book, and they are basically garbage devil fruits, so Newgate put it aside. Gate didn't care either, but this devil fruit looked different. Let me see. Alan came back from his thoughts, looked at the devil fruit, was slightly stunned, and directly swears. F*K. 35. Blue dragon fruit. 35. What? The cyan devil fruit seems to have 2 dragon horns. The overall look is like a piece of cyan scales inlaid on it. This devil fruit, Alan has a very deep memory. The reason is very simple. This devil fruit is the devil fruit eaten by Kaido of the Beasts, one of the future 4 emperors. Fish and fish fruits, phantom beasts, blue dragon form. F*K. When Newgate picked up the devil fruit, he was shocked. Big Brother. This devil fruit is actually the legendary Qinglong fruit. It's true. Alan took it over, observed it carefully, and said, if it weren't for man-made fraud, then this devil fruit is definitely the green dragon fruit, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I really do, this time it's just a profit. Turned over, shiny fruit, mini fruit, hot fruit, transpiration fruit, pocket fruit, plus the current Qinglong fruit, these 5 devil fruits are more important than tens of billions of Baileys. Money. Although it is important, it is really nothing, but devil fruit is different. The 2 brothers now have 7 devil fruits, 2 eudemons, 4 high-level Paramesha devil fruits, and 1 miniature devil fruit. The fruit is simply a mini fruit tailored for Little Oz Jr. No kidding. With these levels of devil fruit, in the future, the pirate group that is destined to be built will be the prototype of the most terrifying and strongest pirate group in the world. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed excitedly. Brother. This time the harvest is too big. It's great. Yes. Alan also had a very excited look, which was too exciting, and said excitedly, pack these devil fruits, and pack them carefully when the time comes, so as not to cause any problems. This is what we will become in the future. The capital of the apex of this world. What? Newgate also nodded earnestly. There is absolutely no problem. Woo. Alan let out a sigh of relief and watched the 6 devil fruits are loaded, and there were only 12 devil fruits left. Although there were only 12 devil fruits, at most 2 spells were activated, but I think it's just a waste of money. It's not a matter of how many spells there are, but some devil fruits. If they are used to activate the spells, it will be a big loss, and the remaining 12 are definitely the most suitable situation. Cool. Ha ha ha. Alan released his excitement without caring, and laughed excitedly. The corners of his mouth grinned, and said proudly, the harvest this time is too exciting. Brat, how are you cleaning up? Should I go too? Newgate threw the treasure chests aside and said, brother. Don't worry, everything is ready, and there will be no problems. Brother Alan. Brother Newgate. With the loud shouts, Neil was running wildly with the people, and soon he came to the top of Dajiang Mountain, waved his hands and said, 2 big brothers. Are these all to be taken away? Alan nodded and said, these are the treasures of the devil pirates, take them all. Neil, pay attention to this, when you return to the voyage this time, don't be tailed by others. 95. No problem. Neil patted his chest and said very confidently, Brother Alan, you can rest assured. If I have a problem with this kind of thing, then I will just die. There is absolutely no problem. Looking at Neil who was slapping his chest, Alan chuckled and said, okay. It's okay. I don't want you to die, you are a good guy with me, by the way. Take care of it, other things not to mention, take all these things away, by the way. There are devil fruits in that treasure box, prepare all these devil fruits for me, and there will be no problems. 35. Neil nodded immediately, knowing what he meant, saying that there was absolutely no problem, soon. Under Neil's command, everything was moved to the submarine that had just arrived. Neil wiped his sweat. It is. Big brother, this time I specially arranged a boat, and I also prepare a submarine. You can rest assured that there will be no problems, double insurance. In this regard, Neil is quite good at these things and will absolutely guarantee that there will be no problems. Joke. If Neil can't handle this well, then that's the strangest thing. And Neil's loyalty to the 2 eldest brothers is absolutely indisputable. Neil is a gambler, and he is the kind of crazy gambler disciple, but with the help of the 2 eldest brothers, he got rid of the past, and then survived step by step to reach the status he is today. Neil is very clear that as long as he continues to persevere, he will follow the scene where the 2 eldest brothers see King's Landing in the sea in the future, and no matter what the reason for being a gambler when he was young, he left behind all the dark wounds. It was cured by my brother. Worth to talk about. Neil's full name is Guild Neil. Gollum. Wow. Neil took the submarine and all the treasures out of the water, and a pirate ship left from the sea, and this pirate ship was filled with people who Neil prepared and didn't know. They don't know anything, they will only go to a fixed location. If they are not targeted, then they can live, but if they are targeted, then it is a pity. Basically, they are dead. As for Neil, he will return to the island where everything is stored safe and sound through the submarine. Alan rubbed his chin and said, Stinky boy. You said, do we want to find a way to make a big ticket? Then build a pirate ship. Newgate pondered and said, brother, I don't think there is any problem with your idea, but the strength of the alliance countries above the sea is actually that kind of strength, even if it is the Kingdom of Gold and the Kingdom of Stone, it is actually like that. The thing is, there's not much cash either. Indeed. Alan also nodded in agreement. This is not a joke. The same is true for those bigwigs in the previous life, how much their assets are. But to put it bluntly, that is, if you have money, you let them spend billions in one go 10 billion, or even more cash. Basically, you can't come up with 5.9, and assets are not equal to cash. But for the pirates, what is the use of Laozi for so many assets? I want money. Money. As long as I have cash, I have no interest in assets. Correct. How much money does our family have now? Alan suddenly brought up this question, and Newgate tilted his head for a while, then shook his head and said, I don't know. I don't even know how much money our family has. 99. 66.99. The two looked at each other and suddenly fell into a kind of silence. Seriously. That is to say, Neil is really loyal. If there is a change of people, just like this pair of brothers, it is estimated that they will be evacuated. Ha ha ha. Goo la la la. But, on the contrary, the pair of brothers didn't feel anything bad, but instead laughed, and looked at each other mockingly. Alan laughed and scolded. Stinky boy. It's the existence of Neil, otherwise, if you are like this, you probably don't know if you lose your money. After decades of hard work, you will return to before liberation. Brother. You laugh at me too. Newgate pointed to himself, and finally said jokingly, Big brother. Where are you better than me? Isn't it all the same? Really? The two brothers looked at each other and shook their heads with laughter. Then they were too lazy to say anything. The two checked the entire evil ghost island again, and after confirming that not even a single mosquito was alive, they were about to leave. It's almost done, it's time to leave. And with the departure of the two brothers, it also proved that the 5 pirate groups of this era have become a thing of the past. The curtain has come to an end. P.S. 5,000-word chapter. 20 updates on the first day of the shelves. The first update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Chapter 72. Rabbit Charm. Chicken Charm. A chance encounter with a trio. Wow, wow. The pirate ship is sailing on the sea, Alan and Newgate are also ready to return, and the ghost pirates have been dealt with. After a month or so, they have made a lot of money. No, it's just earnings took off. The other 5 devil fruits are not to be mentioned. The 2 devil fruits, Qinglong fruit and Phoenix fruit, have already made enough money. They have also won a golden country, destroyed a ghost pirate group, and made a lot of money. In general, the Edward brothers made enough money this time. Of course, with the demise of the evil ghost pirates, in fact, it has already represented one thing. The era when the entire sea once belonged to the 5 pirates has completely come to an end, and now. This is a brand new era, which belongs to the era of Rock's Pirate, and the next, this era, will fall into a short period of rigidity. When the Rock's Pirate completely comes to an end, then it will be a completely runaway era. But, all of this still takes time to develop gradually, and it takes a long time. A long time, little by little, it can't be done in a short time. Before that, for Alan and Newgate, the most important thing is to improve one's own strength. Only when the strength is strong enough can it bring about a real huge improvement. 12 devil fruit. Alan squinted his eyes, looked at the 12 devil fruits left in his hand, and began to think. For himself, the next step is to continue to activate other spells, activate all the 12 spells as soon as possible, and put the Holy Master the template is raised to 100%, and then the other templates are activated, and that is one of the most important things. Swallow it all. 35. Alan rudely devoured all 12 devil fruits, and with the depletion of 12 devil fruits, he began to draw a new spell. As the ray of light passed by, in Alan's pair of vertical pupils like beasts, different colors have emerged. The left eye flashes with the lines of the rabbit, and the right eye flashes with the lines of the chicken. Rabbit Charm. Chicken Charm. This is the latest 206 charms that he has obtained, and what he currently holds in his hand is the remaining 2 devil fruits. Woo. System. Open the panel. 35. Name. Edward Allen. Template. Fire Demon Lord 55%. Magic. The magic of fire. 12 charms. Bull Charm, Rabbit Charm, Dragon Charm, Horse Charm, Sheep Charm, Chicken Charm, Pig Charm. Ghost Mask. Inactive. 8 demons. Not activated. 9 ghosts general. Inactive. Hockey. Conqueror's Hockey, Intermediate Armament Hockey, Advanced Observation Hockey, Advanced. The activation level of the template has reached 55%. Looking at his attribute panel, Alan said secretly, there are still 5 spells left, and these 5 spells actually represent 45% of the template, forget it. You don't need to think so much, just gradually extract when it comes to the remaining spells, it is natural to fully activate the panel. Alan is too lazy to think so much. It doesn't matter how much each spell represents. Anyway, as time goes by, it will continue to be activated. At that time, as long as all 12 spells are activated now, naturally, 100% of the templates are activated. But, what do these 8 great demons mean? To tell the truth, Alan feels very strange about these 8 demons. The reason is actually very simple. His system is actually a 3-no system, which belongs to the kind of very outrageous system. Because of this, the function of this system is probably nothing special. Clear. In addition to the faceplate, but besides the faceplate, there are 8 demons, and besides, there are ghost masks and 9 ghost generals, so say. Alan is really not very clear about these. Of course, Alan is too lazy to think so much. Anyway, this is a 3-no system, and he will develop it slowly in the future. Instead of thinking so much, it is better to absorb devil fruit step by step, and then activate the rest of the system. Are there any problems? Continue to consider so much here. It's just a waste. Only time. But, 99. The Rabbit Charm and the Chicken Charm. Speed and float. Alan's body slowly floated up, and under the power of the Rabbit Charm, his figure disappeared almost instantly. This speed was so fast that it was like an afterimage. Just disappeared. Brush. Alan's figure quickly shuttled through the entire room, but the next moment, because he couldn't control it, the whole person directly broke through the wall and instantly came to another room. Boom. Hearing the roaring sound in his ears, Newgate stood up in astonishment and said differently, "What are you doing, eldest brother?" Bah. 35. Bah. 35. Alan walked out of the cabin in dismay and ordered, "You guys. Go and tidy up the cabin, and tidy up the damaged walls." Yes. The pirates are naturally very obedient. They don't know what happened. Anyway, they are obedient and they are done. After Alan washed them, they sat down. Newgate came over and asked strangely, "Brother, what's the situation? How did you get so embarrassed?" Alan waved his hand and said, but don't mention it. The hell would have encountered such a situation. The ability I just acquired was not particularly familiar, so I accidentally smashed the wall. Goo la la la. Hearing this, Newgate couldn't help laughing. He pointed at Alan and said sarcastically, brother. You are really shameful. Your own power is actually out of control. Alan curled his lips and said, shut up. It just looks like you can talk, doesn't it? Really willing to talk nonsense. Can't help rolling his eyes. Alan really doesn't bother to pay attention to this stinky boy, but he really dares to say anything. But, in fact, this also proves from the side that the two brothers have no worries. This is pure brother. If as a brother you need to worry about this and that, then the identity of this brother is. It's too embarrassing. Big brother. Have you heard? 95. What did you hear? Alan looked at Newgate strangely, while Newgate thought about it. As for the 5 pirate groups, except for the ghost pirates, all other pirates have been destroyed. It's what the folks at Rock's Pirate do. What? Alan said casually. What's strange about this, according to Captain Rock's character, since our target is the Goblin Pirates, then the target of other people is also not much different. This is not a strange thing, let alone. According to the character of Captain Rocks, since he has already chosen to take action, of course he will take everyone. It was swept away, and the entire new world was brought into the hands of Rock's Pirate. Newgate nodded in agreement. Indeed. The entire Rock's Pirate, although it is said now, it has not been called the world's #1 pirate group, but with the destruction of these 5 pirate groups, the most important thing is, don't forget. Rocks himself, the strongest monster in the world, didn't even shoot. Under such circumstances, what do you think the result will be? In fact, it is self-evident. If this monster has not yet shot, it has already destroyed the 5 pirate groups, then the Rock's Pirate is the strongest in the world. Status is unquestionable. Only, it's just to see when it's confirmed. After all, it's already something that belongs to the Rock's Pirate, and there's no need for anything like that. Wow. At this time, as the waves roared, Alan narrowed his eyes slightly, followed closely behind, his mouth grinned, excited and said grimly, it's these guys again. But it's really interesting. He. Turning his head, Alan looked at the pirate ship not far away, a strange and terrifying smile appeared in his eyes, and said cruelly, Stinky boy, you say. If these 3 guys come to ask for trouble if I kill them, will Captain Rocks know about it? Goo la la la. Newgate laughed and said, brother. This is looking for trouble overseas. Who knows we did it? If we are looking for trouble, it's just slaughtered. Alan said interestingly. That's what I thought too. The 2 brothers looked at each other, and a similarly terrifying gleam emerged from the corners of their mouths. The brothers did not show any mercy. If the 3 of you really dared to come and ask for trouble. Very good. Then I want to look. What kind of strength are you 3 trash? Soon. The 2 pirate ships have already met gradually. 6,699. The atmosphere seems to be getting weird. Silver Axe, Akoku, and John are teaming up to deal with a pirate group. Now, naturally, they have already killed the other party. But I didn't expect to encounter Alan and Alan on the way back. The Newgate brothers. Asshole. Silver Axe's face was extremely ugly. He clenched his arm almost instinctively. This arm is no longer a flesh and blood arm, but made of technology. This arm was originally Alan. The guy cut himself off. Silver Axe. 99. Akoku looked at the furious Silver Axe, and said calmly, you'd better be calmer. At that time, the 3 of us were not the opponents of the Edward brothers. It was only a short period of more than a month, and we were also not opponents. On this sea, if you are looking for trouble, it may be very tragic. Akoku's speech is very ugly. But, this is the truth, Akoku has always been this kind of person. He won't go to those phony people. As a person who only plays real, he is very clear that it is not an opponent or not an opponent. If it is for the so-called face, in the end his own life is gone. That's a real shame to throw it at home. It's even said, it's unknown whether it will be able to live in the future. No. In other words, it should be definitely impossible to live, and this it's the scariest, isn't it? Don't think that the Brotherhood is showing mercy. Akoku can tell you unceremoniously, it is absolutely impossible. That pair of brothers will only kill, and directly kill the 3 of them. Silver Axe sneered. As long as I have him, he can't kill me. 35. Akoku continued. Silver Axe, you have to be very clear, with your strength, if you are looking for trouble, what the final result will be. Also, all the treasures on this ship will be lost, and the most important thing is yes. I can tell you directly, if you are looking for trouble at this time, I will never help you. Shaking his beard slightly, Akoku's face is not good looking at all. What he hates most is such arrogant people who don't notice the difference in real strength at all. Obviously there is a gap. Why not can you admit it? Failure is not terrible. A failure, even if it is a failure, as long as you find a way to win it back. It is not like Silver Axe, who is obviously not an opponent now, and is still full of violent thoughts, wanting to continue fighting. This is idiot behavior, at least for Akoku, this is absolutely unacceptable. Snapped. Snapped. Listening to the quarrel between Akoku and Silver Axe, John also patted Silver Axe on the shoulder, and said very calmly, "It's better for you to be a little calmer. Obviously you are not an opponent, you are making trouble like this." 853, and the final result is the end. What it will be, in fact, you yourself are very clear about it. Damn. 35. Listening to Akoku and John's words, Silver Axe's face is also extremely ugly. He is not an idiot. He is very clear whether he is indeed an opponent, but when he thinks of Alan's wild face, it really makes people angry. Woo. Taking a deep breath, Silver Axe's face was ugly, but he nodded again. "Let's go. Just leave, I really don't want to see that guy." Hearing Silver Axe say such words, and Akoku also nodded, "It's not a bad thing, you can bend and stretch. When the next time, the most important thing is to strike hard, as long as you kill with one hit, then you are the winner. Anyone can fail, once, twice, 3 times, even 100 or 1,000 times, but as long as you don't die, it doesn't matter if you fail all the time, but if you die, then it's meaningless. Failure brings death, and everything is meaningless." Wow, wow. The 2 pirate ships passed by slowly, looking like they didn't want to stop at all. Alan grinned and said sarcastically, "But it's really weak. People feel pitiful. Don't you dare to even look at it. It's really boring." Alan has no intention of showing mercy, the chance is only once. If it is possible, then this time is to directly take the life of the other party. This is Alan's idea. Do you expect Alan to show mercy? Hee. The last time I let Silver Axe run away, this time, Alan won't give Silver Axe such a chance again. Of course. As for Silver Axe's ability to escape, seriously, Alan is also not sure. To put it simply, Alan just wanted to see if Silver Axe would die. Of course it would be best if he died, even if he didn't. Actually, it doesn't matter. I don't care anyway. But, the best result is to be able to tear a piece of meat off Silver Axe's body again. This is Alan's idea. Otherwise, you expect Alan to be merciful. Hee, that's like a dream. Goo la la la. Newgate laughed and sneered. It's really weak. With such strength, you should go home and sleep. Silver Axe, garbage like you, don't you plan to continue to survive in Rock's Pirate? Hearing the mocking voices of Alan and Newgate, Silver Axe finally couldn't stand it anymore. Turned his head, angrily growled. "Asshole, Alan, Newgate, you 2 are just 2 bastards. Kill you 2 guys." His eyes flashed with anger, and Silver Axe was full of killing intent. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. 20 updates on the first day of release. Second update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Chapter 73. Silver Axe, one arm is not symmetrical. I will give you symmetry. Bastard. 99. Alan. 35. Newgate. 39. Silver Axe roared angrily and said furiously, "You 2 brothers should be damned. Damn. You should all die for Laozi. You bastards. How dare you trouble Laozi? What are you guys?" 35. 66.99. Listening to the tyrannical voice of Silver Axe at this moment, Akoku and John looked at each other, their faces became ugly, this moment. If you want to get rid of something that is almost impossible, this battle must be involved. No matter what the result is, but if the 3 of them join forces and want to escape, it is absolutely not a problem. What's more, who is also this new generation of monsters, who is not an arrogant person? Being satirized by Alan like this, if only one person can't bear it. Trouble. Akoku squinted his eyes and said, "John, next. Let's see what the strength of these 2 guys is." And listening to Akoku's words, John also clenched his captain's knife. He was very clear that this meant no mercy to the Edward brothers. When he was at Rock's Pirate, he had no mercy, let alone. It is now, if there is no accident, this pair of brothers will definitely kill. Ha. Alan put his hands in his pockets and said sarcastically, "Silver Axe. I thought you were going to leave like a tortoise. It seems that you are a bit daring. But it really makes me feel what a surprise." Edward Allen. Silver Axe roared in anger, "Are you courting death? Looking for death?" 35. Alan tilted his head, and the next moment the figure suddenly disappeared without a trace. The speed was too fast. Fast. It was as fast as lightning. Snapped. The whip leg directly hit Silver Axe's head, and Silver Axe felt his head buzzing instantly. If he hadn't reacted fast enough, he would have been directly hit by this blow now. Fly out. In the next instant, Alan has returned to the deck of the pirate ship, as if nothing happened just now, and this is the most terrifying thing. Alan's power is originally extremely terrifying, but at this moment, he has at such a terrifying speed. Pooh. Silver Axe spat out a mouthful of blood and said with a very ugly face, "Alan. You bastard." Alan smiled eerily like a ferocious evil spirit. "Silver Axe. It's really weak. For such a long time, has there been no progress at all?" Pooh. As if spitting up a piece of garbage, Alan said with disdain, "On this sea, if you can't become stronger, you will only be eliminated, and Silver Axe. Your garbage is obviously the one that was eliminated. But it's really shameful to throw it home." 35. 66.99. Silver Axe was so angry that his teeth were itching, and his whole face was extremely ugly. He really never imagined that Alan's words could be so angry. The most important thing was that he couldn't refute it. Actually, Silver Axe, Akoku, John, all three of them are actually caught in the biggest problem of pirates, that is, they start to enjoy after burning, killing and looting. You know, the strength of pirates is actually stronger than that of the same marine. The reason is simple. Even with the same strength, marine grows more in practice, while pirate, it is honed in battle. One grows in actual combat, while the other grows in it has been honed in time, and as long as you understand a little bit, you will be very clear about what it is like. But, when the pirates are raised to a level, they will fall into an embarrassing state, that is. These pirates actually began to rest, they began to enjoy, and thus stop the improvement of their own strength. For Emperor's pirates, the deputy of the regiment, they are not qualified to go further. Do not. They are all qualified to go further, just. They are all decadent, or rather. They are just gradually enjoying the life brought by pirates as time goes by, but forget to keep working hard to become stronger. This is very deadly for any strong man. Remember, if this indulgence continues, what will be the result? It is self-evident. Result. It's self-evident, and that's exactly what the three of them are now. They joined the Rocks pirate, and the result. It's actually relaxed, and all the efforts were given up because of that. But, Alan and Newgate have never relaxed, these brothers. But no matter what time it is, they will never relax. Alan and Newgate have their own ambitions and want to achieve. If you want to achieve your ambition, what is the best way to achieve it? Strength. This is absolutely beyond doubt. If not. As a result, just like the three guys in front of him, they are simply weak and pitiful. Kong Yunchi air shake. Newgate suddenly clenched the Kong Yunchi in his hand, and suddenly he shot. The terrifying slash fell instantly. The powerful force, the power of Kong Yunchi, and the terror of shock fruit, the three combined together, Newgate. Gate has combined all of these perfectly, and the power that burst out is enough to tear everything apart. This is. Akoku and John both widened their eyes at the same time and shot without hesitation. The two drew their weapons and shot at the same time, and a powerful slash burst out immediately. Drink. Boom. With a loud shout, the impact force that followed was as if it was going to devour everything. The power that erupted in this moment of time made the pirate ships under the feet of both sides become in an instant collision. It exploded directly. Wow. The two pirate ships collided, but everyone remained motionless, watching this scene quietly, with sharp eyes just staring at each other, without any carelessness, after blocking Newgate's blow, and Akoku said sharply, "Is this the so-called power of shock fruit?" Goo la la la. Newgate laughed proudly and said, "That's the power of shock fruit." Akoku, what do you think of this rubbish? 35. Humph. The corners of Akoku's mouth twitched, and he snorted lightly. His expression was very calm, as if he didn't care at all, as if he didn't take it all in his eyes. But, in Akoku's heart, he thought secretly, what a terrifying power. This is the power of shock fruit, plus the power of the supreme sword, and the power of Newgate, although I don't want to admit it. But, the Newgate guy has definitely gotten stronger, and Akoku scolded secretly. It seems. It's true that I've been too relaxed recently, and it's really too embarrassing to be relaxed like this. After this time is over, I must train harder. As a smart person, Akoku understood the problem. After thinking about it for a while since he joined Rock's Pirate, Akoku clearly found that he was too relaxed. He used to be training hard every day, but now, it's been a long time without really hard training. He. Akoku chuckled lightly, but his expression was very calm. He looked at Brother Edward very calmly and said, seriously. Although this result was unexpected, I probably guessed it is indeed. I also discovered what kind of mistake Laozi made during this period of time. Search. Alan licked the corner of his mouth, and said interestingly, have you found it? But, it's just a matter of finding it. You should first consider whether you can survive or not. 35. Kill us. Silver Axe said sarcastically. Alan, do you have such strength? It really makes people feel ironic. Who wouldn't say arrogant big words? What? Quote. 35. On the contrary, Alan looked at Silver Axe interestingly, and said with a hint of teasing, Silver Axe, isn't one of your arms uncomfortable? Well, I will give you a symmetry today. I also tell you that arrogance is not what a good thing. 35. A killing intent appeared in his eyes, and Alan moved his muscles a little. Crackling. The muscles all over his body were like popping beans. Alan suddenly opened one hand, and Silver Axe felt as if his body was out of control. What happened? Silver Axe suddenly sensed something was wrong, but when he reacted, immediately blessed armament hockey, and controlled his body, Alan's attack had already arrived. Ha ha ha. Alan's speed was extremely fast, as if he was teleporting, he came to Silver Axe's side instantly. This time, he didn't throw a punch, but grabbed Silver Axe directly. Asshole. Silver Axe felt Alan's hands grabbing him, as if he was imprisoned by an invincible force, he couldn't move at all, and in this one, Alan's eyes opened, a terrifying force was burst out. Electric Eye Burst. Dragon Blast. Boom. 3 terrifying shock waves fell through everything at the same time, and Silver Axe burst out with terrifying power at this moment. Although Silver Axe's strength is indeed weaker, in this month's time, Alan activated 3 spells in one go. And what about the Silver Axe? Silver Axe's strength is still standing still, even to say. Because Alan cut off an arm, it's not bad if he doesn't go backwards. But no matter what, Silver Axe's strength is there. As one of the monsters of the new generation, there is no doubt about its strength. Roar. With a roar, Silver Axe broke through Alan's blockade. At the same time, his arm turned into a silver giant axe, and the armament hockey wrapped around it blocked Alan's blow. Ha ha ha. Not bad. 39. Good. That's it. Alan laughed excitedly. That's right. Silver Axe, show some strength, don't be like a lamb to be slaughtered, if that's the case, I'll feel very bored. Ha, ha. Silver Axe was also gasping for breath. At that moment, the power that Alan burst out even seemed to take his own life directly. At this moment, Silver Axe really felt that Alan had the power in the end. What a terrifying power. Be careful. John walked to Silver Axe's side and said very seriously, although I don't want to admit it, I have to admit it. Since joining the Rocks Pirate, we have indeed fallen, and we used to be arrogant. Among these people in front of us is simply not enough to see, if we don't work hard enough, we will just be eliminated. What? Silver Axe's face is also extremely ugly, to be honest. If you want to say that when you didn't join Rocks Pirate, who was really strong? Who was the best mix? Actually, there is no doubt. That is Silver Axe. Silver Axe established the Silver Axe Pirates, and has such men as the Gold, Silver and Bronze Pirates, and other pirates, but after finally joining the Rocks Pirate, Silver Axe is like a waste, but he the heart is arrogant, but there is a huge problem. You can say it bluntly. If a person's mentality can't be adjusted, then it is basically abolished, and this is the case with Silver Axe now. His mentality has not been adjusted at all, and the result is becoming weaker and weaker, really. It's like a piece of garbage. Who? Taking a sip at will, Alan continued to hook his finger and said, come on. Go ahead, but Silver Axe, you can also consider escaping, in this case. I can let you go. Hee hee. Silver Axe sneered. Run away. Stop making trouble, Alan, you bastard, I'm going to kill you today. Holding the silver giant axe, Silver Axe immediately jumped up, and John quickly followed Silver Axe's movements, while Akoku shook his head and said, seriously. Just leave like this, I don't want to. Yes, after all, we have collected a lot of treasure, and it would be too embarrassing to run away like this. Goo la la la, Newgate laughed and said. Then let's try it out. Let's see if you get Laozi and Big Brother's treasure, or Laozi and Big Brother get your treasure. 35. Kong Yunchi Hai Junchi. Newgate's eyes suddenly widened, and a terrifying force burst out in an instant. The monstrous force seemed to tear everything apart, and this invincible force made everything fall into place. General in silence. In an instant, like the sky is falling apart, the monstrous waves are churning, and Alan has already made a 1-2 shot. The cow spell, rabbit spell, dragon spell, pig spell, chicken spell. The power of one spell is in Qian Li how Alan's hands were used to the fullest. Die. Alan opened one hand, and a large amount of seawater was gathered into a sharp blade, wrapped around armament hockey, and fell from top to bottom. Chicken charm. It represents not only your own floating power, but the real floating power, which can be understood as a kind of gravitational force, but it is not the same. Basically, it is equivalent to lion fruit, but it is more terrible than lion fruit. Because the power of the chicken charm can act on people. If you are not careful when facing Alan, then if you are controlled, you will die very miserably. Crackling. Silver Axe and John blocked Alan's attack, thinking in their hearts, what kind of devil fruit is this guy's devil fruit? So many abilities. Seriously, although it shows that everyone can see it, Alan's ability is mainly flame, but this is an extremely strange thing. Alan's ability is too much, to the extent that it makes people feel strange. There is a kind of strange I feel that Alan's strength and ability are too special. But no one can really know what Alan's ability is, just like at this moment, when you see a figure covered in armor, and then come straight towards you like a ghost, how do you feel? Anyway, Silver Axe and John can be seen, good guy. You guys are too scary and scary. No matter what, the two of them felt how terrifying Alan's strength was, and compared to Silver Axe, John was much more relaxed. Alan just wanted to make this fellow Silver Axe at least cut off one of Silver Axe's arms. Isn't it courting death? Since you are looking for trouble, I will kill you directly. P.S. 5,000 character chapter. 20 updates on the first day of the shelves. The third update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Chapter 74. Buy one get one free. Woka Kingdom. Young Kaido. Bull Rush. Snapped. Boom. Wow. Alan's punch hit John's chest directly. Even if John's reaction speed was extremely fast, he had blocked Alan's terrifying punch, but it was really too late. Alan's terrifying punch fell. The captain's knife that directly blocked John's chest was instantly smashed, and the punch still fell on John's chest. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and John knelt down on one knee, his face pale. The punch just wounded all his internal organs, and the blood he spat out was mixed with pieces of internal organs, and his face was very ugly. He said in a low voice, "Damn it. In just over a month, is this guy Alan's strength increasing so terrifyingly?" Kong Yunchi air shock cut. 99. Click. On the other side, at the moment when Alan's punch fell, Newgate's knife also slashed, and the supremely fast sword Kong Yunchi, which blessed shock fruit and armament hockey, directly cut off the épée in Akoku's hand. Stab it. A knife fell, and in an instant, a terrifying wound appeared on Akoku's chest. He also spurted blood from the whole person, and also stepped back, trying to support his body, but he still knelt a little uncontrollably, on the ground. Ha, ha, panting slightly, Akoku said softly, "Not only does this guy Alan become stronger, this guy Newgate has also become stronger, the power of shock fruit. Not only that, but also his own strength. It's an improvement." Both John and Akoku suffered heavy losses in the short battle. Generally speaking, according to the strength of the two, even defeat should not be like this. But there is one thing that must be said. Alan and Newgate have experienced battles again and again this month, and their strength has been improved again and again, but what about Akoku, John, and Silver Axe? The three of them started to enjoy themselves, and their strength did not improve in the slightest. Once, the three of them will not be the opponents of the Edward brothers, not to mention that under the current situation of Long and One disappearing, the gap will naturally appear. Bah. 35. A mouthful of blood spit out, Alan smiled grimly and said, "It's not bad. I think that your strength is not bad. You can even hurt me a little. Although such an injury is not worth it at all. Just mention it." "All right, Silver Axe. Next, it's time for you to pay the price. Remember, if you dare to provoke Laozi, then the price you have to pay is the price of your life." There was a terrifying gleam in his eyes. Alan's killing intent was very terrifying, today. If Silver Axe can't leave, then he is not welcome. And looking at Alan's killing intent, the three of them it suddenly became serious, and they were keenly aware that Alan had no intention of showing mercy. Silver Axe. Walk. Akoku is a smart person, and the smarter the person, the more able to give up all that. He roared almost without hesitation, roaring, "Let your subordinates open the passage immediately, and we will leave immediately." With the angry roar of the king, Silver Axe also shouted, "Open the passage now." But at this moment, with the opening of the hole again, and the corners of Alan's mouth grinned, the figure has rushed over like an afterimage. Dragon Blast. Electric Eye Burst. With this terrifying blow, Alan burst out in an instant, and the three shock waves contained terrifying divine power, and even fully blessed the divine power of the bull talisman on it. Silver Axe roared, "Block. Block everything, or else. It's going to happen. Ah." Suddenly, Silver Axe let out a terrifying roar, the arm he was struggling to block, and the only remaining arm was cut off in an instant, and this is not over yet, the next moment. Although the three of them joined forces to block Alan's attack, but Newgate on the side is not a dry eater. Kong Cloud Cut. Air Shock Cut. A terrifying killing intent burst out, and at this moment, Akoku and John had already rushed into the black hole, and only Silver Axe was left, but this blow was still terrifying. Of screams. What? With this shrill scream, one of Silver Axe's legs was also left behind. Ha ha ha. Looking at the gradually closing black hole, Alan threw a fire dragon into it, pouted his lips, and said with a smile, "Stinky boy, you said that you lost a hand and a leg this time, does this count as a buy one get one free deal?" "What?" Ha ha ha, ooh. The two brothers looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. It was so funny. To be honest, at the beginning, Alan and Newgate had no trouble or conflict with Silver Axe, they could only said that on this sea, as long as there is conflict between the two sides, then there is no need for nonsense. After laughing, Alan waved his hand and said, "But next time, I have to find a way to deal with this devil fruit, otherwise. It's very troublesome to let this guy Silver Axe run away again and again." Nuggetmore rubbed his chin and thought, "Brother, Silver Axe is very good at hiding this guy. He didn't even notice where the power person was, and as a result, he directly expanded his power." Indeed. 35. Next time pay attention. 99. But forget it. 99. After thinking about it, Alan waved his hand and said, "It's a small problem, I'll study it later, it's not a big problem. By the way, the gold and silver treasures that people get these three guys will be brought back to Laozi. Did you hear that?" "Yes." 35. Big brother. Quote. The pirates immediately started to get busy. In fact, most of them were Rock's pirate people. At first, they all followed two people. Now, they are willing to surrender. Just kidding. These two brothers are simply just like the two monsters. Following these two big brothers is definitely not a problem. For a while, they are all really obedient and very well behaved, while Alan and Newgate returned to their pirate ship and watched boxes of treasures being moved over, but they were very calm. Newgate thought about it and said, "Brother, if nothing else, how do I feel that the profit from robbery pirates is higher?" 99. Well, Alan shrugged and said casually, "This is not a strange thing. After all, everyone is a pirate, what would you do if you have money?" Newgate was stunned for a moment, then said, "It's probably just eating, drinking, and having fun." If you don't build a pirate ship, as a pirate, it seems that you have nothing to do except eat, drink, and have fun. No wonder, the money is all left. Alan nodded and said, that's right. Isn't that money being kept? So, basically, there's nothing wrong with that. Brother Alan. Brother Newgate. At this moment, a pirate ran over quickly and said, two big brothers. All the treasures have been moved back. 99. No problem. Alan nodded, raised his hand, and threw a fire directly on the pirate ship on the opposite side. In an instant, the raging flames burned instantly. Under this monstrous flame, the entire pirate ship was incinerated. Alan continued, right, did you guys find the Verka kingdom you guys were looking for? What? Mentioning this matter, the pirates immediately nodded and said, Brother Alan. We have found it, shall we go? 35. Oh, Alan was immediately interested, and the corners of his mouth grinned, have you found the Verka kingdom? Yes. The pirate nodded and said, Big brother, the Verka kingdom is a very weak kingdom located in the New World. In terms of strength, it is poor, but it should be the country you were looking for, big brother. Newgate asked, Brother, shall we go directly to the kingdom of Wall? Or shall we return to the Rocks pirate first? Newgate knows that his eldest brother has always been in the kingdom of Wall, it is said. There is a very good kid in this kingdom, and his strength is very terrifying. It is definitely very good to cultivate the future well. For such a person, Newgate Tay also remembered. Alan said unceremoniously, turn the bow of the boat for me to go to the kingdom of Wall immediately, by the way. Speed up. Anyone who dares to stop along the way will be killed by Laozi. Just kidding, you can return whenever you want, but the affairs of the kingdom must be dealt with first. Okay, big brother. The pirates immediately started to get busy, while Alan narrowed his eyes and said secretly, Kaido. This time is Kaido in his childhood, and Kaido who has not experienced betrayal and has not so much ambition, at this time. Kaido is a kid who likes to fight, if you can conquer Kaido. Alan is interested. If the Whitebeard Pirates originally planned, if the future Marco had the opportunity to become an admiral, then Kaido is a real monster. That is the Four Emperors. The future Four Emperors, after a series of wheel battles, he finally lost to Luffy, the Five Emperors Straw Hat. Can only say, it's just embarrassing, but, no matter how you discuss it, Kaido's strength is where it is, and if it wasn't for Kaido who was sent to sea by the Woka Kingdom when he was 10 years old, it is estimated that Kaido is the Woka Kingdom. The first warrior, directly led the kingdom of Verka to grow and develop. So say it. Sometimes, you really can't be too short-sighted. Otherwise, such a good seedling will have problems. Humph. The corners of Alan's mouth grinned, feeling extremely excited, and said secretly, if Kaido can be brought under his command. In the future, the three major disasters such as Jin, Quinn, Jack, and the cadres of the Beast's pirates are all included in the future. Among the thieves. Tisk tisk tisk. Alan smacked his lips and murmured excitedly, this is very good. Such a result is quite a gathering of the combat power of the two Four Emperors' regiments. A smile appeared, Alan was very excited, and Newgate was rubbing his chin and thinking, if he could bring people who are really qualified penultimate into his brother's command, then the improvement brought about also very huge. Wow, wow. The pirate ship headed straight for the kingdom of Wall at a very fast speed, and along the way, all the guys who dared to make trouble. Hee. I'm sorry. Newgate just stabbed it straight down. Don't make trouble for Laozi. What's going on with Laozi is very important, do you know that? Because of this is definitely the most important thing. 10 days later, in the case of running all the way, I finally saw which island not far away, and on this island is the kingdom of Wall. It's finally here. Alan looked at the island in the distance, with a hideous smile on the corner of his mouth. His expression was very sharp, a smile appeared, he jumped up, and disappeared without a trace in an instant. A voice came down. You guys just stay here. 39. Okay. Big brother. Quote. Goo la la la. Newgate sat cross-legged on the ground, also with an interesting smile, and said interestingly, I'm looking forward to it more and more. What an excellent kid, how could he be so interested in Big Brother? Snapped. Snapped. The little devil carrying a mace looks like he is 4 or 5 years old, but he has a pair of horns that are different from ordinary people. They look like horns like ghosts, and they don't look like human beings. Owned. Same. Carrying a mace, this little devil swept all the way, killing all those who dared to think about him in front of him. Snapped. A mace directly smashed the head of the person in front of him. Facing the blood splashed on his face, he did not change in any way, but was very calm. It is the direct beheading of an ordinary adult. A very short time. He has already cleaned the entire battlefield, very calmly, and said casually, is that such a strength? It's not worth mentioning at all. I haven't played enough yet. Cut. 35. He curled his lips in disdain. The little boy with ghost horns didn't take these people seriously at all. He was just a bunch of rubbish, because he was young, he came here to bully himself and get more wealth from his own hands. It's just a joke. For such garbage, he will never show mercy. Kaido. Kaido. Great. Win. Kaido. It was amazing. As Kaido disposes of these rubbish-like people, behind Kaido, in the house that seems to be in ruins, little ghosts come out one by one. They are all big and small, and the older ones are 3-5 years old, and the younger one is the baby being held, they are all too small. Wall Kingdom. This is a country that has experienced war all the year round. In this country, when there is almost no peace and stability, it has always been suffering from such chaos and war. Because of this country has always been in such a situation. Over time, a large number of orphans were born, and these hundreds of orphans and Kaido, they all came from this orphanage, it's just. The orphanage has been destroyed. If it wasn't for Kaido to stand up, these own playmates from childhood to adulthood, those who are regarded as older brothers and sisters, younger brothers and sisters, I am afraid that they will all die. Are you all okay? Turning his head, Kaido still looked at his companions very seriously. Fine, fine, Kaido, you are too strong. Yes. Yes. 35. Everyone was very happy, and everyone ran over with a chirp, so I said. Children's feelings are always the most real, they are always like this, and they are very concerned and caring for their companions. Looking at everyone, Kaido couldn't help but smile. He suppressed his happiness and said, let's go and bring these people's supplies back, it should be enough for us to live for a while. 35. Wow, wow. At this moment, the cry of the baby came, and a group of children hurriedly came over. Kaido also asked, what's wrong? Kaido, this child is sick, if I can't get treatment as soon as possible. A little girl is very nervous holding a baby in her arms. She knows very well that if there is no money, then the baby girl is almost dead. When it comes to this matter, all the children are sad and low. Head. Kaido gritted his teeth involuntarily. P.S. 5,000 character chapter. 20 updates on the first day of release. 4th update. Please subscribe. Please customize. Chapter 75. Edward Kaido, third brother Edward. I've decided, I'm going to be a soldier. What? Kaido. 35. No. That's too dangerous. What if you don't? Now my brothers and sisters always have a fever that doesn't go away. If it continues and we don't have the money to treat the disease, the injury will only get worse. 35. Listening to Kaido's words, everyone fell into silence. It is undeniable that they said, yes, there is no way for them. In the past 2 years, because of the outbreak of war, many people have died of illness. There used to be hundreds of people in the orphanage, and now there are only hundreds of people left. If Kaido was not really strong enough, the remaining people would not be able to survive. Because of this, Kaido has now made a decision to join the army. Idea. Everyone is unable to refute. The reason is very simple. They can only survive if Kaido joins the army, and as long as Kaido climbs higher and higher, they can live better. Only. Innocent children. I think this is very bad, but there is no way. Kaido also shook his head. There is no way now, only this way can let everyone live, this is the best way. Hey, little devil, do you want to follow me? Ha ha ha. Suddenly, there was a loud laughter. Kaido and the others were stunned. Every child hurriedly shrank up. Only Kaido clenched the mace in his hand, his eyes glittering terrifying light. What a terrifying power. Is this guy a monster? It's really terrifying. Kaido felt that his muscles were trembling, not excitement. It was real fear. The other party's mere aura made people feel endless fear. This terrifying power slowly walked out with the figure. It's getting more and more terrifying. Snapped. Snapped. Alan put his hands in his pockets and walked over step by step. Looking at the situation in front of him and the corpses lying on the ground, he said interestingly, little devil. If I remember correctly, your name is Kaido, right? Yes. Not interested in hanging out with Laozi. Who are you? Kaido looked at Alan, asking strangely. Alan grinned and said with a smile, Edward Allen. He's a pirate, are you interested in being a pirate with me? Kaido shook his head and said, no interest. I want to be a soldier, and only by being a soldier can I save my relatives. Huh. 35. Alan looked at these orphans and thought for a while. Well, all of you follow me, I will adopt all of you, and if you are willing to follow me, if you don't, I will support you for the rest of your life. Is it just 100 orphans? Those who are willing to follow their own will be raised later, those who are unwilling to follow their own will be kept in one place in the future. This is a small problem, and it will not cost much anyway, as long as Kaido is willing go with yourself, these are the little things. Can you feed us all? Ha ha ha. Listening to Kaido's words, Alan laughed excitedly, it's like a joke. Kid, who are you looking down on? No matter what I say, there is a big pirate with a reward of more than 1 billion on this ocean. Even you bunch of little bastards can't survive anymore. Correct. Correct. This little baby is sick, isn't it? 35. Alan's divine power immediately melted into the baby's body with a single flick of his finger. The little baby who had been breathing in less and breathing out more had gradually recovered, and soon fell asleep calmly. The little girl holding the baby said happily, Kaido. Kaido. It has recovered, it's all right. It's all right. It's really good. Wow. All the children looked at Alan excitedly, all of them were quite excited, and Kaido was stunned when he saw this scene, looked at everything seriously, turned his head, and said with his mace, come on. 5. Ha ha ha, it is good. Alan smiled when he looked at Kaido, which was really interesting. It should be said that Kaido is worthy of being at such a young age. Even if he is willing to follow him and leave, he still needs to see his own strength. Bring it on, little devil. Alan hooked his fingers at Kaido, his expression very sharp. Kaido's eyes were also sharp. He stepped out, and fell directly at Alan with his mace on his back. Click. The mace shattered, and the corner of Alan's mouth evoked a smile, and the punch landed on Kaido's body, neither light nor heavy. Be careful. You guys, take care of these little guys for Laozi. Have you heard all? Big brother. Quote. We know. The pirates are also quite helpless. Their eldest brother came back, and he brought back a group of little guys, which made these pirates all in a hurry, and according to the character of their eldest brother, if they dared to bully, then it is estimated that it's about to happen. Alan is quite calm. He thought it would be very troublesome to conquer Kaido. I didn't expect that it would be so easy. Kaido at this age would agree to this because of his siblings who were also orphans. Seriously, Alan really didn't expect it. Originally, what he first understood was that Kaido would become the strongest warrior of the Verka Kingdom at the age of 10, but he didn't expect it. Kaido turned out to be like this when he was young. Sure enough, on this sea, no matter what the future of an individual is, it must be different when I was young. Brother. The pirates came over and asked cautiously, Big brother. We can't take these children back. If we take them back, there will be an accident in Rock's pirate. Big brother, you also know about this. The pirates are really very helpless. This thing, I can't help myself. If these children return to the Rock's pirate, it is estimated that according to the characters of the Rock's pirate guys, they can use their heads to drink and use their offal for a drink. Alan frowned slightly, then turned around and shouted, Little guys. Come here, I'll discuss something. All the little guys came over, and Alan glanced at them from big to small. There were exactly 100 babies, and Alan continued to ask, I'm here to tell you. Kaido will follow me from today. Later on it's Laozi's younger brother. How about you? Do you want to follow Laozi? If you are willing to follow Laozi will find someone to teach you to learn. If you don't want to, I will send you to a safe island, and then raise you to grow up. At your age, what you should know is already known. These are all things you need to consider. As for those babies, let's discuss it. Remember that if you are willing to follow Laozi can give it to you. A brilliant future. If you want to be ordinary people, I will let you live as rich people too. 100 little devils, small problems. Small problems. Whether it is to train them or let them be rich, it is a small problem, it is not a problem at all, so say. Alan has given the right to everyone. Hearing Alan's words, Kaido was taken aback, looked at Newgate beside him, and asked, Am I your brother? Gu la la la. Newgate laughed and said, The people who join Laozi and the eldest brother are of course our relatives. According to your age, it seems inappropriate to be our son, so it is just right to be a younger brother. Although it is said that he has just arrived on the pirate ship, Newgate is very clear why the eldest brother recognizes Kaido so much, and even wastes the time to return, but also wants to let Kaido join his subordinates. The reason is very simple. Kaido's aptitude is too terrifying. Newgate is also a capable person, and it is immediately obvious that Kaido's aptitude is no worse than himself and his eldest brother, no joke. In the future grow well, under the ability of the big brother, there will be no dark wounds. What kind of terrifying monster will you grow into in the future? You don't have to think about it, you know it. If you don't fear the training and growth of secret injuries. Then, even if he is an idiot, Alan can hone him into an elite, so that's why. If the aptitude is good for these little devils, then of course it is the best. Even if the aptitude is not good, it is not a problem to hone him into an elite. The self-confidence brought by the divine power of the Arima talisman is nothing but self-confidence. Humph. Kaido snorted and said, Who is going to be your brother? Really? Ooh. Looking at Kaido's appearance, Newgate laughed and shook his head. To put it bluntly, he was just an arrogant brat. Counting his age, Kaido is only 4 years old, and he has not yet joined the army and has not been betrayed by anyone. He is just a relatively powerful kid in the orphanage. After Alan was able to take everyone away, he chose to agree without hesitation. It can be seen that young Kaido. In fact, he also attaches great importance to his friendship and family. In fact, to put it bluntly. For everyone who goes to sea, childhood always have people who care about them. Newgate values his hometown, Linlin values his companions, Kaido now values his family in the same orphanage, and what about the others? In fact, they are all people who have their own values, including Teach. If his mother and 2 younger sisters hadn't died, maybe his heart would have become completely different. This is the real root. Everyone has experienced a lot so that such a huge change has taken place, otherwise. No one is really like this from birth, and many people are different when they are young. Including Kaido, Linlin, Shiki, Teach, and more, all of them. We want to follow you, big brother, we want to be with Kaido. 99. We want to help Kaido in the future, we want to be like Kaido, we want to help Kaido defeat the enemy. 35. 0. Ask for flowers. The little ghosts made their choices almost without hesitation. They all chose to follow themselves and wanted to help Kaido, but Alan looked at these little guys with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Alan doesn't seem to care about all of this at all, but just like Newgate is looking for his own family, and he is the same. He is also very recognized for people who value family and family. Ha ha ha. Alan laughed and said, yes. Not bad. A group of good little devils, listen to Laozi. From now on, you will be our Edward family. No matter what name you used to be called, whether you have a surname or not, it doesn't matter. Your surname will be Edward in the future. Remember it for Laozi, you are not orphans anymore. You are all the cubs of Laozi and Newgate. 99. Yes. Uncle, Dad. Following Alan's words, these children immediately started chirping, but the father's position was still given to Newgate, while Alan was the uncle, and Kaido came over and didn't know where to get it. He took a new mace to carry, and asked strangely, why are they children and I am the younger brother? Alan said very seriously, stinky boy. From now on, you will be the deputy captain of our pirate group. Of course, you will be your younger brother. Is it your son? Are you willing? I don't want to. Kaido refused, although he is still a Kaido who attaches great importance to family, but he is not interested in being someone else's son, but as a younger brother is still a character that is not a problem. Ha ha ha. Alan laughed and patted Kaido's head. Actually, it's not surprising. Among the pirates, there are different generations, and basically they all have their own names. That's why. The current Kaido is the younger brother, and the others people are sons and daughters, but he still calls Kaido Kaido. This is their respective seniority. That, brother Alan. The pirates on the side also came together, and they were not very old. In fact, they were all in their teens, and the number of people differed by 100. They all asked curiously, that, brother Alan, we can one join in too. 35. What? Alan was taken aback and asked strangely, would you like it too? All the pirates nodded hurriedly. We are willing. We are willing. Uncle, will you accept us? Ha ha ha. Looking at these pirates, Alan couldn't help laughing, and said with a big laugh, yes. If you are willing to join, then of course there is no problem, but I have agreed, I can allow you to make fun of you, you can allow it. You do anything, but you are absolutely not allowed to betray your companions. Otherwise, Laozi can kill you. Terrifying killing intent flashed in their eyes, and all the pirates looked at Alan and nodded earnestly. They were ready, so they would definitely not betray him. Alan looked at the pirate at the head, raised his eyebrows slightly, and asked strangely, boy. What's your name? The age of this child seems to be about 10 years old. To be able to join Rock's pirate at this age is considered a talent, and his aptitude and strength are also considered good. It is estimated that it will be very good to train in the future. Only, when Alan looked at this pirate, he always thought he was somewhat familiar. That, uncle, my name is Baggley, ha ha ha. He scratched his head embarrassedly. The pirate called Baggley looked very embarrassed. Alan raised his eyebrows and looked at this man with long black hair, a hat, and half a tattoo on his face, although he said only about 10 years old, but at this time, I recognized it, darling. Isn't this the captain of the Baggley Pirates, one of the 43 pirates under the Whitebeard Pirates in the future? Good guy. When this guy was young, he was still a member of the Rock's pirate. This can definitely be cultivated. Alan said carelessly, boy. You will be called Edward Baggley from now on. Go and prepare all the adopted son's wine and adopted father's wine for Laozi. Yes, uncle. 99. Oh who? All the pirates screamed, why did they follow Alan? They just hoped to be the subordinates of these two Edward brothers. This is the most important thing. And now, it is finally a dream come true. And Kaido has also become Edward Kaido, and the Edward brothers have also become 3 brothers, it can be said. History. It has become completely out of shape. P.S. 5,000 word chapter. 20 updates on the first day of release. 5th update. Please subscribe. Please customize.